could sit here and read live commercials and just make tons of money for the company. I could tell you the same thing over and over again.
I can't be tagged as the guy who's a dick.
They must be so jealous of me. I'm so successful, and they're just kind of not. You know what I mean? I feel the jealousy. That's why I don't leave my house. Don't you also sort of harbor some resentment, even though it's not logical, but you resent your baby for being in the way of your career?
Because we don't want the Japs anymore, man.
Because I want respect.
Some people say our show was the first reality show. I don't think there's one thing I've ever said on the radio that would have been found indecent or obscene. The secret to my show is honesty, reality, that I will say the truth.
You are the dream I never knew I had.
And I could give Mike all the credit in the world, but he comes in there, and despite his negotiation tactics and what he's known for, he really doesn't move the needle at all in that prison break. It really is Robert Sawyer that does everything. But nevertheless, I think we both agree, and we all agree, that they need to do a prequel movie, and we need to see what Mike McCluskey's like was in prison before all this. They really need to do that. I think a 2-hour movie on, you could be Paramount Plus, to see what was Mike McCluskey's prison like. How does he know these people? What's the backstory? It's long overdue. And we all agree. Speaking of Mike McCluskey, every time I watch it, Bond, I think you're in this camp just like me. Thank you, Kathy Scott. Speaking of Johnny Depp, when I watch Jeremy Renner in this, I say to myself, this is what Depp should be doing. It's not even, I think it's a difficult role, but it's, for him, it's what you want him to play, a normal guy in regular time in an edgy crime drama streaming series. And his management, I need to strip down, burn it to the ground, anyone advising him. And this is what I would do. But it's still, I don't think he wants to work that hard. And I don't think he wants to be on a set to that degree. And he thinks, and I think he's so more out of touch than Hall & Oates, that he doesn't understand how great TV is and how he's still in that velvet rope mindset, how TV's beneath him and Jump Street is beneath him, even though he went back and did the movie. But TV is so superior to movies in terms of quality right now. It's not even funny.
100.
Anyway,
that's my mom.
Thank you, Kathy Scott. Ideally, we're going to be like, I want to apologize for skipping last week. I didn't skip last week, but I've had
We were on vacation, John.
I was on a mental health, I had a mishap where I've had a medication adjustment, and it kicked my ass. My circadian rhythm was off. My timing was off. My energy was off. And so that's why I skipped last week. I'm now on 225 milligrams of Effexor, and my blood pressure medication got upped, and it's giving me the woozies, and it's giving me, and I'm getting more fatigued.
Oh no.
So, erratically fatigued, I should say. So it doesn't happen when I can't trust it. Now I'm feeling a little bit better. And because that was supposed to be Chauncey. So Chauncey Hayden, I want to thank again. 3:00 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, we wrapped up in Ireland time. And he could have done an Irish exit, but he didn't. He sat with us the entire time.
That was respectful. Hours. Yeah. I mean, he deserves the applause, doesn't he? He started at probably midnight his time.
Yes.
And then nearly 3.5 hours later, he would have, imagine trying to sleep after having to dredge up all of that shit.
So in homage, in homage to, no, you're right. I mean, and so the next show with Chauncey, which is probably next week, Bond agreed, and Bond's going to be the one that is doing the
take a hit.
Work. Yeah, like you said, it's not going to be permanent. It's just a couple times and that's it. But Bond's going to be at an ungodly hour, and we're tweaking. We're going to go 3 hours earlier or 4 hours earlier for Chauncey, and so it'll be like 9 p.m. Ireland time, and
Yeah, and
that'll work. Yeah.
here it's going to be a 6 a.m. kickoff for me, so I cannot wait for that.
I would just stay up all night. I would just stay up all night with Gilbert Gottfried and Rhonda Shear, and then go to sleep afterwards. That would be my move. If I were a morning radio guy, that's what I would do, and stay up all night and go to sleep after it. That's what David Lee Roth did. David Lee Roth's going to come up during the show, by the way. And I want to thank Chauncey once again. And there's no better
he's
homage
so nice.
than from the great David, the violinist.
Wow.
If you don't know Joe Jackson's Stepping Out, that is note for note perfection. I mean, I'm sitting there going, it is impeccable what he did there. He's going to be doing an Armfeld cover too. By the way, yes, everyone, if you're a Howard fan, we talk a lot about Howard in our last Armfeld No Hugging, No Learning with Shoshana Lonstein, and it's just a really good. I would wager to say it's the longest bang for your buck Seinfeld podcast that there is in all of pop culture, right? I mean, we did 3 hours and 20 minutes. I don't know of any Seinfeld that's a lot to talk about a half-hour episode.
Good Lord, that's a long time.
And
that's
I'm not
incredible.
bragging. I'm not bragging. I want to give people their money's worth. People always go, I want to have something in the background to listen to or go on a road trip or drive. Is there anything worse than the 40-minute podcast?
It's tough. It's tough. They're running out the door. They're out the door.
Yeah, foot's out the door, right? And I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not an air whore. If I could do this every day, and I don't. I get sick of myself very easily. I'm trying to do a service. We have a product. I'm not sitting here like some grifting comedian, and they all do it, talking about themselves, promoting themselves with nothing to offer but themselves. It's not what we do here. It's not what we do. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I was one of those Shuley types who should be sick of himself, who should not follow his dreams. Right, Bon? Right? As you're the executive producer of the best Shuley hate podcast in history, that went 3 chapters.
It makes me so happy when I think about that show. He shouldn't be on the air, and all he's doing is stuttering John's life.
I know.
God, imagine waking up
explaining that to your immediate circle and your family. My whole life is immersed. My whole life revolves around stuttering John's every move, every waking thought. And who is Stutter John? He was the guy on Howard Stern 20 years ago. That's really original. Oh, it's not original because I'm ripping off two of these podcasts and who's the ginger broad who created the name?
Chrissy Mayer.
Chrissy Mayer, right? It's not even my original idea, it's not. You're doing something that trash, that lowbrow. It's not even original. Could you imagine that?
And I mean, whatever he's earning, which is probably good. I
don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. It's the worst of humanity that you would donate to him.
How could you explain that to your children?
I don't know.
In the
Christmas
end,
presents. Right? Your Christmas present. Christmas present goes to Shuley. And Bob Levy.
That's right.
Mike, for what? I want to say hi to everybody. Rick the Electrician. Love you, pal. Looking forward to listening. Southern California is Rick the Electrician. Let's much. Currently pre-gaming by watching Towering Inferno. I saw that on some streaming service. God, what are they promoting that on the homepage for oh my God, Roku or something? It's fascinating to watch old movies and I think about that all the time, how much goes into them. Frank the Tank, welcome, sir. I hear that film is a scorcher. That's so Frank the Tank. That's why he's so successful in a courtroom. He has zingers like that. I hear that film is a scorcher. Autobot, welcome. We got to have you on soon. Melvin, welcome. My poop is muddy. Right out of the gate, Melvin. Sarah says, yes, everyone hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. They say that helps. I don't have evidence that it does entirely, but they say that helps. What does Mark Harris have to say about this? Where is Mark Harris?
Vinny, it's Mark. Dearest viewers, a new month and a new show. If able, please donate to the Arm Fund, which is how your host gets paid. Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App, or memberships. It all counts. We'll all go. Now put your face in the buttermilk and take a sip. Oh, I love the knee. Welcome to a new arm venture. How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from playing too fast?
I love Mark
Oh.
Harris listening to James Ingram. I can't. Just once, can we find a way to finally make it right? Whoa, make the magic last for more than just one night. Yes, one and the same guy. Isabel, welcome, 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 welcome. Well, Isabel says that movie is my favorite. Steve McQueen and Paul Newman. Those are the old guard real man movie stars. Doesn't Sheryl Crow have a song called Steve McQueen where she faps to Steve McQueen and how there's no guys like that, there's no real men around anymore? Am I crazy? Does Sheryl Crow have a song called Steve McQueen?
I'm going to
So
look it
everyone,
up.
our Patreon, Armfeld, 21 Arm Street. God, what else we did? Golden Girls, 90210, and various things. I think Bon and I are going to be doing Mayor of Kingstown if anyone wants to sit in with us. Kathy Scott, who is a master of all things prisons, must sit in. I think she is mandatory for that, maybe more than we are.
Oh, yes.
It's
I,
truly.
I'm
Go
ready
ahead, go
for
ahead, go.
that. I hadn't thought of that. I
I
would
want to
love
talk
to.
to
I'm not.
you. I want to talk to you live while we watch it because all we do, we're supposed to be preparing for this show, and all we do is talk about Mayor of Kingstown on the Voxer. I mean, I think it's 90% of the dialogue. We just were pitching ideas for it and talking about plot
That's what.
points.
It's what I used to do with Breaking Bad. I worked with a guy I worked with. When it came out here, it didn't get successful for a while, but I had heard about, because I'm always downloading illegally, on the
Yes,
torrents.
of course.
So I
They
heard
should be
about this
paying
new
you.
show, Breaking Bad, and I got like the first few episodes, and I was like, wow. And so I put it on back. This is back when I burned a DVD. Now we're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back
I
in
did that all the
time.
time. I did
I
that all
burned
the
it for
time.
my buddy at work, and I said, watch these few episodes. This show's amazing. And he went home, watched it, went, oh my God. So we had dinner nights.
Oh,
We'd save
nice.
up like 3 episodes of Breaking Bad and lose our minds. But I wish you were here with me for Mayor of Kingstown, because when we were watching Breaking Bad, we'd be sitting there going, holy crap. We pause it when something amazing happened and just go, wow. And that's what I wish I could do with you, but I don't. I can't. We have that distance, but rewatching it would be sensational on the Patreon.
There'll be no distance between us. You know what? I feel like. Well, I remember I did this, and I did exactly what you did, but my friends Mike Yander and I, Jim Verdone and Mike Ravatsas.
Oh, wow. Say those names
We
again,
we
please.
had
They're
we had a
so
tradition.
American. Oh,
We had Mike Ravatsas, Mike Yander, and Jim Verdone, and we would watch the HBO drama show. So originally it was Oz, right? So we were the first ones to watch Oz, and I kept telling people to watch it. Larry Sanders and then The Sopranos came. So we would have a tradition and we would all watch that together. I had something called the Oz dance. So when the Oz theme
Oh,
song played, I would
what?
do an interpretive dance to Oz, and I would pretend that I was in a prison yard escaping, and I would dance like I was a prisoner with the lights, the spotlights coming down, and I was doing an escape at night. And I would dance. It doesn't have words to it. Unlike
Oh
The
my
Sopranos,
God.
woke up this morning and I would do an Oz dance.
You do an Oz dance and you'd sort of run left and then run to
Yes,
the right because the
I'm ducking
spotlight
under.
was.
Exactly right. Exactly.
You're
Ducking under
killing me.
spotlights.
Isn't everybody listening right now going, oh, we need this guy on camera doing that dance? You just set yourself up. Look at them in the chat. They're probably going to start going, hashtag the dance is going to be huge after this. Everyone in the chat, I mean, click the like button if you want the dance. He's not going to do it, but you're not going to see it. But
oh well, I might. The grift, the grift would be on, right? You charge for the Oz dance during a stream.
well, surely would. Surely it'd be like.
Surely would do it.
There it is.
Welcome, Sunflower Dragon.
Everybody's.
Sunflower Dragon, by the way, Bon, it's going to be in on our Richard Christie streaking episode. She's going to give us a legal perspective on she's like the Gloria Allred of human resources, and she's going to give us the take on what you could do. It just kind of backs up my theory about Howard being a partner. How if you're not thumped from the workplace after that, you have no accountability. Zero. Sky Spectre, welcome, sir. Right, Bon?
Sky Spectre. Yeah.
Broad Cosmo. By the way, Sunflower says she's one of the most how do you put this? Diverse, open to various races, and the most progressive person you'll ever meet. She said if she had to use a racial slur, she loved Schwarze. She's a big Schwarze guy.
Yeah. That would have been hard for me to read, probably as well.
Yeah,
that's Chutzpah.
Right. That's what made me think of that. So Schwarze is spelled SCHWARTZE.
I would have said Schwartz.
Yeah,
I would have read it as Schwartz.
And read Schwartz, as you should.
I didn't even know what that meant until Monique used to say it all the time, and I had to say, what does that even mean? And when she explained it to me, I went, oh.
Yeah. It's basically Yiddish for the N-word. I mean, there's no other way. Jews would probably try to doctor it up that it's something more magnificent, but it basically is Yiddish for the N-word. And it just sounds like slick, right? It sounds like you're trying to get away with saying the N-word.
As far as Jews and champagne.
Juice and champagne. Oh God, classic arm, right? But Monique, isn't it kind of cool to see Jew on Jew crime like that? What was I talking about there? Howard and someone?
I'm not sure, but the quality is so bad that it must have been in the 2015 or 16 era. It's the archives.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell us. You're going to have to think about it during the show and try and remember nearly 10 years ago. Isn't that crazy? You've been epic.
We're going on 10 years in May, right? Of doing a Howard related. This is the longest one we're doing currently. These are the ones we do. It's the longest, in terms of minutes running time. We'll go into 3. It seems to be. It's not like it's a conscious thing. Speaking of crazy, welcome Crazy Robin. Arms, stop it. I don't know what I did to stop it. Everyone in the chat. I love everyone in the chat. Everyone loves Crazy Robin. She needs to come back and do freaking City of Lies. That's what we're waiting on. Crazy. I almost asked her to come on this one, but I didn't think we got to get her to do City of Lies before she does this. The last episode with Chauncey was pure genius, says Rick. Thank you, Rick. Chauncey was amazing. There's no place he won't go. So if we can think of stuff, the next time it's going to be like Lila R. Sierra, and we're going to ask him about, I have 2 clips of Howard Beth's dad at the time that he's on house arrest. And Chauncey didn't know that, which is crazy. He knows
crazy.
Beth too.
He should know that. Yeah.
I know. We're the only ones that know it. And to hear him, it was Bobo and King of All Blacks. asked Howard about Beth's dad, and he's like, I don't know. He doesn't come to New York. I don't know. She mentions his mom, and he knows exactly where he is at that time.
That's right.
Frank the Tank says, I got one ticket for the Kingstown show when I was a poor student. I tried to get one for my wife. She went to watch in Town Square. What about Bruce Springsteen and Hungry Heart or Mayor of Kingstown?
Frank the Tank.
Chauncey's trying out for the Sarah chair, says J.I. Young. That's so funny. A 3-figure annual YouTube salary. What did we say they got for the Jackie chair? It was $1,500 a week, right?
Yeah.
AJ Benza was the first one to say what they got, and it was $1,500 a week. Crazy Robin, think of you. And yeah, Pell out. We all rooting for Crazy Robin, who has gone through hell and back in the last 2 years and change. This is a massive piss off seeing the asshole kid that didn't even know. Sunflower Drain, that was all. Thank you, Edward T. Rush, one of my favorite NBA referees of all time. Thank you, Edward T. Rush. You are awesome as well. Gunga Din, great to see you. I know how to play chopsticks on the piano. David is awesome, right? David smokes some keys. I'm telling you, that Joe Jackson song, it is impeccable, the job he did. He threw it together, I think, in 20 minutes. And there's almost no theme he can't do. It seemed to be like almost nothing to him. You could just see him.
It is. Yeah, you've seen his capabilities. Yeah, that's nothing.
I want to see four hands on the piano with Sarah and David. She plays piano, by the way. That's a hidden talent. She slipped that out one of the Deppenings we did. Seinfeld is overrated. I agree. It is overrated.
Really? Oh.
It's great. It's phenomenal, but it's overrated when you compare it to like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like when you see like what Larry David does on Curb, you know where all the good stuff. So when he leaves, there's a precipitous decline in the show, and it's obvious that Larry David's everything that show is good about.
I didn't watch that Curb Your Enthusiasm. I watched the first few episodes, and I didn't like it at all, and I never watched it.
It actually gets better. It actually gets more edgy, and he gets more. I'm telling you, but no, I understand. Like Seinfeld is great, but the praise it gets, you got to remember, it's working under network conditions, so it's on NBC. Could you imagine that show if it were on HBO or Showtime or something like that? So it's a network show, right? I mean, that's how you have to grade this stuff. It's like not fair to grade network against cable.
That's a good point. Well, yeah, and look at this, John. While we're at it, look, here we go.
Welcome, Holden 190. Dennis Miller's son in the house.
There's your Steve McQueen lyrics. You were correct. That's a Sheryl Crow song. So how does it go? Give us a few more.
I don't know it. I don't know it well enough to sing it. All I know is the chorus goes something like Steve McQueen, all I need is a fast machine, like something like that. And I haven't heard it in years.
All right. There we are. Underneath your radar screen. All right, let's get this crap off the screen.
And it's basically the message is, there's no real men like Steve McQueen anymore, and somehow we're all emasculated pussies compared to Steve. I think that's what she's saying.
While we're mentioning Sarah, if anyone ever wonders who creates the wonderful images, the thumbnail images for each episode, that's all Sarah.
I love that you have access to. We both are at the helm. It's like a double pilot. It's like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. It's like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart controlling a Green Lantern ship at the same time, co-pilots.
She knocks these up. Look at these. Isn't she just great? And I love the ones she did for the bald one. She got the aesthetic great there, you know.
She loves her thumbnails. Yes.
I can imagine the little girl. She's looking down at she's tapping away, clicking the mouse, putting the fonts together, and then a little smile comes across her face when she's finished it. And then she quickly looks around to see if anyone saw her smiling.
You know how intimidating she is, right? When those thumbnails get done, she's like, post the thumbnail, like 10 messages, and it sounds like this.
President Trump summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack. I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
Whoa, it's that intimidating.
That's
telling you.
brutal. It really is. It's.
Is it embarrassing as an Aussie? Is that all embarrassing when you look at us from the outside? What are you idiots doing? Is that?
Oh no! Our politicians are so boring. They're like, oh God, who was the guy that you had? Oh, who was the one that was really boring? The one who stuck his dog up on the top of his car and drove it. Remember that guy
in Australia?
No, your guy. He was running against Obama or something, or Bush.
Mitt Romney?
I can't remember. These guys know who he put his dog crate on the top of his car and drove it over.
Well, McCain and Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
that's
Mitt
it.
Romney did that.
This Crazy Robin just got it there.
Okay. Crazy Robin.
As they're all like him, like really straight and just boring.
He's a milk and cookie boy. Yeah, he's Guy Smiley. He's like a game show host. He's like, I think he's almost 80, and he's never had a drink. He's never, he's like, you couldn't look better than he does at like 80 or whatever, but he's like a milk and cookie boy, Mormon, Utah, and phony at the same time. But he did dissent on his own party. I give him that. But he should have been speaking at the Kamala Harris, the DNC. Australia's, it's a bright A. Smith, right? It is a penal colony. That's where I love saying that.
It's true.
And if anybody else, in honor of Queen Elizabeth, wants to donate, thank you.
Melvin says Shuli twists his asshole hairs into little dreads. Larry Mondello's shoes. Great name. What the hell are you? I was kidding. Mark Harris it's always alive in my book. There's Babe Lewis. Let me just finish saying hi to everybody and scroll through it. Then
go for it.
Go for all the CBS press conference stuff. Arm fried chicken cutlet sandwich. So no, I have not had. No, Melvin, that's on the menu this week. Thank you, Melvin, for reminding me. That's on the menu this week. Okay.
You went crazy. This guy Melvin remembers a sandwich that you mentioned years ago.
Yes. He is the same. I think we in real life we really get along. He's the same mental. I know we would.
You'd get along with everybody who listens to this show.
That's true. I think there is like a commonality. We all share a brain. I think that's true. G Canada writes, who we love, Shuli sucks. He's absolutely brutal at everything he's ever done. Not funny at all. Not interesting. He just escapes on talent of others. Remember when Gunk had his stand-up? One of these days, I'm going to have to read you G Canada's messages to me. They're just these emasculating screeds about him talking about the old days and the Polish, quote, slut sisters. Sky Spectre. I'm talking to Howard, a deep dive in the last couple weeks. I've come to the conclusion he's crazy, like big time insane. He's a greedy con man. Crazy would be a compliment for Howard. He's crazy in all the worst ways, Crazy can be a compliment, but not in his way. It's just a kind of all the elitist mental illnesses, elitist mental illnesses, and all the things that what greed. All his illnesses lead to him having all the advantages. You know what I mean? Like he's not any OCD has nothing to do with you getting a good product from Sirius. Ironically, like this is Labor Day, right? And we're doing a Howard show. How about the cruel irony of doing a show on Labor Day about a guy whose whole goal to go to Sirius is not to work, right? Labor Day couldn't be less applicable to anyone but Howard. His whole goal the day he got there is to work as little as possible, and he's celebrating Labor Day. Bond is closer to Mars than the U.S. Oh, is that true? Are you closer to Mars than the United States is? Is that true?
I will not even. I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer.
Mr. D says sand pebbles. Wow, I don't know sand pebbles. Mr. D. Let me just finish saying hi to everyone. Loved Oz. Yeah, thank you, Pal. That's true. Edie Falco does not get enough credit for doing the most amazing range at the same time playing I think this is what he's saying. I didn't read it entirely. I kind of speed read it. Edie Falco plays a prison guard, a drab, banal prison guard on Oz, and Carmela Soprano on The Sopranos at the same time.
Ah, a dichotomy.
That's crazy. It's crazy. And the range, the dichotomy of range is crazy. That's how you knew. And this is after she was in the back seat with Allison in Private Parts. The theme song to Oz, Sunflower Dragon. I'm going to have to make up our own lyrics to it. How about David plays the piano to it? And I do the Oz dance to David going down, 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 down.
I love Linda Ronstadt.
Why did we bring up Linda Ronstadt? Wasn't there a cover? Jesus Christ. Okay, Holly Robinson. Yeah, at the 21 Jump Street Christmas party and going on 88. Christmas of 1987, 88, the second season of Jump Street. Did a cover of Linda Ronstadt. Holly Robinson sang it, and Depp and his cronies played guitar to it. And I forget what something in the USA. Something I forget but Holly Robinson sang
Living in the USA.
Living in the USA.
Yeah. I watched
and
the
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, is that you got that from the Jump Street? So you totally
the
got
Patreon.
That. Yeah, Patreon.
That was your last step. It was scintillating, I have to say.
No, I don't hate Richard Frank. I think he needs to be called out. Maybe I do hate him. You know what he is? He's part of the emasculating of the show. His gay antics is what the closeted Howard really wants. So he and Sal cuddle together and they say, what does our gay boss want? Let's go as gay as possible. When you watch him during the Erica Durant's episode, when she goes out of the studio crying, because you will hate Richard. I promise you. You will hate him after that.
I'll give you traction right now.
Yeah. How'd you get a Richard drop? Amazing.
I got stuff. I've got everything loaded in here. This is years of work coming to fruition.
You can play whatever you want. I could care less. I did not know that's the first time I've heard a Richard drop. G Canada hates. I'm telling you, when you watch the Erica Durant's too, by the way, played Lois Lane on Smallville. Nice Canadian broad, has that Canadian cool factor as broads tend to have, and she gets sexually harassed out of the studio. There's no other word for it. In today's climes, you would get canceled in a finger snap. It's not even a question when you watch it. We're going to do an episode on that, hopefully very soon. Hopefully right after maybe we should do it right at Canadian fan. Bon, do you think we should combine Erica Durant's with the Richard streaking, or is Richard streaking enough?
Yeah, let's do that, because I don't think...
Is it not enough for one episode?
I think it'd be better. Yeah, I think we're going to... I mean, how long can we... We're not going to be able to riff on Richard for 3 hours, are we?
Yes, we can. It'll be Sal. It'll be Sal, too. Because Sal will be part of the Durant's one, too. So...
Oh, that's good. We separate them, because we've got
It's a jar containing several gold teeth from Auschwitz.
Was that a swap and shop or whatever?
Yeah, I love those calls. Like
Sal's shitty Long Island Southern accent he tries to do.
It's so bad. It's so funny.
It's called a schwoogie button.
Oh wow, that guy sounds like he's from Hicksville, Long Island. Is he from Omaha or Hicksville, Long Island? Rick the Electrician, I never believed in the Howard partner thing, but now, until you base it on stock options, and I get it now, he's a big time partner. Yeah, you'll know that during this. Thank you, Rick, as a matter of fact. Autobot, let me scroll down. I love Sky Spectre. I'm one of the Sketchy Press Angels. What the fuck is that?
That's a guy.
Sketchy Press
Sketchy, that guy. He has that YouTube channel. No, he has a YouTube channel. He's like a commentator. He's like that other guy. There was another one who, I can't remember his name. Everybody, oh God, I'm so close. I've got blue balls on this one. I'm so close to knowing his name. I bet someone in the chat is just going to tell me. The other YouTube guy, Monique, had him on his show as well. I can't remember his. Unique. Remember he changed his name to Unique? That's Sketchy Press is like another one of those guys.
You got a huge fan in Sean Daly here. Okay, Bon, what a dick, you uptight asshole. Go suck off some more. Okay, so that. Yes, Sean Daly. That's my
Fair
job.
enough.
I'll suck them all off. Get in line, Bon, because I'm gonna suck them all off before you do. Just get in line. Super fan Sean Daly. You know that's a guy. He loves you more than like. I think it's the same. Who is the Amber? I think that's Amber's Molt, who loves you in the comments. I'm not. Oh, thank you, Crazy Robin. Thank you. I'm not being hard on myself. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to respect the meds and stuff. I'm trying to give you I cannot do this unless I'm 100%. That's defamatory. I do not use derogatory terms or any race or religion. If Sunflower Dragon comes out with a turn, yeah, she's a very underrated legal mind. She was right about every single thing in the Baldwin trial, everything, and never brags, which is phenomenal. Like usually people will boast, she never brags. It's just very modestly, just almost like a silent assassin. She's just right about everything. May I suggest a Chauncey show with an actor dude you've had on the show, Johnny Meyer? Three of you playing on, maybe. Is that what he means? Curb is way better than Seinfeld. It got better than Seinfeld's first season was horrible. It's it tries to do like a thing where they don't go to the laugh track. It's very, it doesn't pop, it's slow. That season was truly about nothing. Really, PCPBO, we really go after Seinfeld's arrogance and what a smug prick he is and statutory rapeist with Shoshana Weinstein. So we kind of go at him. We really, we go in on him most every time, but the last one was especially good. Oh, Guy Gardner. Was he a pilot though, Autobot? Guy Gardner is one of the Green Lanterns. A lot of people know. Kyle Rayner would be the other one. Who's the broad? Who's the Hispanic? Jessica Cruz. They have a Kat Matui, Kilowog. I'm forgetting someone. The first one was Abi and Sewer. That was the first Green Lantern. He who crashed and gave the ring to Hal Jordan. Oh, Alan Scott too. Did he become Sentinel? She's a great video. She is. Sarah is a very underrated filmmaker, by the way. Very
great broad.
Wish she'd do more things though. Like Liz's hair. Oh, Liz Cheney. So yeah, Johnny Bye Bye loves Liz. Has an actual crush on Liz Cheney. Liz Fair. God, I forgot about Liz Fair.
Liz Fair. She was huge. Minor hits. Yeah, she was
slightly underground, right? Slightly, just a little bit obscure, but she was kind of had that cool factor. Very, very little. Speaking of Sunflower and Liz Fair at the Lilith Fair, you would think it's named after her. That thing. It's so Sunflower Dragon. Liz Fair. Jesus Christ, it's crazy.
And she played guitar too. She was pretty cool.
Yes. Writes her own shit. Absolutely. Like Sarah McLachlan. Welcome, Tamara Francois. Welcome. All right, Bon, JMD, Autobumps going through all this. JMD, welcome. Liz Cheney and Kristen Gillibrand are my top two political milfs. That's interesting. That's Johnny Bye Bye. See? Told you. I didn't even see it coming. Mm-hmm. I told you. I mean, how do you not love AOC and what up, G? He's a ridiculously greedy motherfucker. That's it. Laziest man in entertainment. Yep. Jasmine Crockett, too, from Texas. What a firebrand. What a force of nature. I predict she will be president one day. I don't think there's nothing stopping her. There's nobody she can't tear limb from limb when she wants to. Jasmine Crockett, Congress broad, Nubian princess from Texas. She can eviscerate anybody in her path. Mark my words. You heard it here first. I predicted she will be president. There's not a doubt in my mind. Just when you think you need a testosterone every once in a while, who else is going to give it to you? That's right, G. I love your text. Believe me. Late to the party. Hello. Just learned about... Yeah, Oz came before The Sopranos, guys. Sopranos is great. It is an A+ show, one of the best of all time, but Oz came first. Oz paved the way for those edgy drama shows on HBO. Make no mistake. And there's a huge crossover. It was shot in the Long Island City, Queens, in the Silver Cup Studios. My big problem with Oz, Bon, you've watched Oz, right?
Nah.
Okay, it's a prison show.
I've watched a few episodes of that as well, and I watched a few episodes of The Wire, and I didn't like them, and I didn't watch it anymore. I should go back and watch these shows. Does everyone recommend I go back and watch Oz and The Wire?
I think.
Let me know.
I think The Wire is a tad overrated. It needs something. I don't know what it is, but it would be slow. I think there's a lot of neophyte actors on the show, so I don't. I would have cast some things different. It's just it was hard. I had a really hard time grabbing it. It took me a long time to get into it. Watch that today. Okay, Holly Robinson randomly liked one of my tweets. She doesn't follow me, so God, that is so great, Sunflower. You must be still riding high off the Holly Robinson like.
Hey, John and Sarah, it's Holly Robinson Pete. How you doing?
Jesus, I'd still be talking. That is it had to be something progressive. It had to be. Holly Robinson went after Ann Coulter last week. She challenged her to a fight because she made these horrible remarks about the mentally disabled. Oh, how would you put it? Learning disabled is the most politically correct way to say it. And she has a learning disabled son.
Right.
And Judy Hoffs, up your ass. There's nothing worse than that. When a black woman gets mad at you, forget it. Hell hath no fury. She challenged her to a fight. I feel sorry for Ann Coulter if Holly Robinson gets her hands on her. She kicked Robin Givens' ass in high school. You saw her on Jump Street? That woman can throw a punch. You see her in the high school cafeteria?
Yeah.
Erica Durant.
Yeah.
Yep. Sunflower Dragon.
Skinny.
Canadian broad. Pissed me off. Erica Durant's. They made it say, Arma sound you can riff for random stuff in a dictionary. Thank you, Frank the Tank. I'm excited about the Durant's Richard streaking. Now, do you think we should fuse them together, Bon, officially?
Fuse it. Let's.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Fused.
I don't know what we title it, though. Maybe just put both things. You don't have to be clever. Yeah, I saw that, Kathy. Depp got his teeth fixed.
Really?
Did you know that his benefits? If this guy is globe trotting on a private jet more than Air Force One, he makes Air Force One look like an Uber. If losing $650 million is that, sign me the fuck up. He lost 600. He takes a plane like one from Sable to Bayport. I don't understand. Again, we know that the Saudi prince is funding him, but Jesus Christ, his life is so stupid now. I don't understand. He just runs around you're not sure. Apparently he's in Brazil visiting the Hughes brothers, who directed From Hell, the only Hughes brothers movies where there's no black people in it. You'd think Tim Burton directed it, but those Snowfall is better than by the way, Snowfall is better than The Wire. That's a better version of The Wire.
Oh, that's us. You recommended that, I think.
Yes.
Recently, is that really? I looked up reviews.
Yes.
Is it? Am I gonna? Yep. All right.
My advice to watch it. Please heed my advice.
I'm looking at. Yep. Sorry, John. Continue.
No, it's okay. That's okay.
No, you're good. You're good. Do not what? Do not.
The CIA agent, the boring white
guy.
Fast forward through all his scenes. You are not missing anything.
Oh, thank you.
Especially in the first season.
That's like Diane Weist in fucking Mayor of Kingstown. I was just like, oh, God, will she ever shut up at the start of every episode talking to the chicks?
Well, you know what? I totally get that.
That was the disappointing thing about that season. That was the only problem I had with it.
That's Mrs. Scissorhands, by the way.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, but she was. I know she was the moral compass of each episode. And
she's a good actress. I know what you mean, but I actually like her. She plays like a very liberal mom to Jeremy Renner, and she doesn't believe. she's trying to rehabilitate the female prisoners because she knows that they're born on whatever less than first base is, and so she thinks the system is decked is stacked against these girls, and she's trying to give them some fighting chance when they get out. So she's a counselor teacher in the prison, and she, she doesn't she's not, how do I put this? She wants the best. She's oddly rooting for which is very atypical in the prison system. Usually they hate the prisoners but she understands the deck is stacked against them. Like the racial biases and stuff. And I like her character, but I could see how someone would find it slams the brakes on the action. And Brendan. Oh, hey, Brendan. Yeah, I described Jim. Oh, okay. Yeah. Brendan was in the chat before, and I saw Kamala. So he turned Kamala Harris to Kamala, the Ugandan giant. Of course, Brendan flipped the script on. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, irascible, an earlier comment from a few days ago. Hello. All right.
Look at these teeth, Depp. I never noticed this. That is disgusting.
Well, you know what his excuse was, right?
No.
Jack Sparrow.
Oh, good Lord. They could do up his teeth in half an hour with makeup to look whatever the way he wanted them to look. That is disgusting.
Hello, the Loser Club. Hello, the Loser Club. Hello.
Hi, Loser Club.
I recently found a YouTube channel that has all the scenes from Jump Street. I always loved the steroid episode. Yeah, that was called God damn. That was when. So there was a female gymnastics student, and then a football player who Penn Hall went undercover with, and Depp was in the Big Brother program with Miss Elizabeth, and I'm trying to remember it's season 2 episode, I want to say 8. Yeah, a lot of people like that episode. Sketchy. All right, so here we go. Let's get to this. We're doing Howard's press conference. Bond put together the actual press conference in his own. I don't know what I think you remastered it. Is that what I'm to?
Yeah, I just zoomed in. It's just terrible quality. Anyone who's watched it on YouTube knows it's terrible. So I couldn't do much with the picture. The picture's woeful, but I did try to get the sound a bit better. There's a lot of camera clicks, and they really. There's one thing I can't stand is those high-pitched sounds coming in and out. So I tried to turn a lot of them down a lot, but there's some when he's talking, and you'll hear how loud they are compared to the other one, so I pulled them down. But yeah, the quality sucks on the visual. I was so disappointed. Like, where did they get this tape from? Like, how many VHS copies of this was made before it got to YouTube? I don't know. So don't get excited, everyone, because I'm bitterly disappointed about the visual. But
that sounds like the magic hour. That sounds like the magic hour. It was clearly from a VHS tape. And you could see it's so VHS. Like it was summer of '98, I believe that was. That's what you're describing. The Howard thing, yeah, it was. So it's February. I want to say February 28th, 2006, and then this is all in and around late February and early May of 2006, early March of 2006, and Howard has found out he's being sued by CBS for promoting Sirius on CBS. I say this all the time. It was an infomercial for the last year and a half, and he needed to meet his bonus. And let me just, before I play this, let me play what he did get. So this is what Howard got in bonus, and he denies. I want everybody to listen when we play this stuff. It's amazing how Howard has mastered the art of not bringing up any numerical figures when he talks about money regarding himself. And this whole thing is about money. It's all about money. And he doesn't bring up not his bonus number, not what he gets paid. He doesn't, Bond, right? Not a single numerical figure.
No,
he avoids it the whole time.
Oh, he runs. This is as much as he runs from talking about his kids.
Yes, just as much. So this is when they talk. So this is an article when Sirius starts to lose money on Howard's compensation, which you won't ignore. And this is from the LA Times, and just kind of saying already that they overpaid him. So this is from Bloomberg News and the LA Times. Sirius Satellite Radio posted a wide first quarter loss. Bring back Jackie's jerking off to this. He loves all things financial and all things partners. Lost after paying partner Howard Stern $225 million in stock-based compensation. This is what this is all about. That number is what we're about to, and he will not bring up that figure. So his whole thing when he was on terrestrial was to get that figure. He knew exactly what it was. He always brags, and you'll hear a clip later, that he's a chess player, right? And his like, oh, I'm always 9 moves ahead of whoever I'm dealing. Well, if you're 9 moves ahead, then you had this in the works for years before you announced it. So they could use that terminology against you. And right, if you're a chess player, then you knew you were doing this a year before you announced it. If you're going to brag about being 9 moves ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm saying 9 all the time. The net loss was 558. This is 2006. Or he just got there. The net loss was $458 million or 33 cents a share compared to 193 or 15 cents early. Sales tripled, 126 million in the New York-based company. The addition of Stern's radio show in January helped attract 761,200 new subscribers in that period, outpacing its larger competitive XM, which they were. The two companies were separate at that point. Holdings Incorporated for the second straight quarter. XM said last week that it added 569 subscribers. Sirius raised its forecast to more than 6.2 million subscribers by the end of this year from an earlier prediction of 6 million. The company had 4.08 million at the end of that quarter. Sirius shares rose 26 cents or 5.6%. Or 4.88. They are down now 27% this year. And Shuley came in last in the Win Stuttering John's job contest. I thought I'd throw that at the end. Dead last. After Joey Boots. And so that's amazing. You first get to Sirius, and he's already losing money. And so would you like to hear Les Moonves and Joel Hollander talking to Howard just months before all this goes down?
Yes.
This is the shortest interview I've ever seen. This is 5 minutes. They were on the show for 5 minutes, the two of them combined, and they had one foot out. Something tells me in their voice that they knew they were going to do this. So they come on to say goodbye to Howard. This is December 14th, 2005. Can you believe this is almost 20 years ago? Casey Armstrong comes on after this, like directly after this. It's bizarre. This is the third to last day at terrestrial. This is Les Moonves, the only time he was ever in studio. I think he called in once. And Joel Hollander, who had never been on the show. Joel Hollander was a lot to do with WFAN, the sports radio station in New York. I used to hear his name all the time when I used to listen to FAN. So this is the two of them saying goodbye to Howard in a very two-faced kind of way, and they're scheming something. Here we go.
Two guys I've been working for the last couple of years.
In this picture is Joel Hollander on the left, Sumner Redstone, who I guess owns CBS, who's the president of CBS, and then Moonves is on the right.
Joel Hollander and Les Moonves would like to say farewell and wish me well, which I think is great. Right. And there he is. That is the famous Les Moonves, who is the head of the entire...
The whole company.
You're the head of everything.
Well, as of January 1, we've become the new CBS Corporation, and the only thing we're missing as part of the new CBS Corporation is you.
Look at potty mouth Sarah weighing in here, Bon. Look at this shit. I don't want to derail this, but we have to. I'd close my eyes and pretend it was Jack Sparrow taking me to Pound Town. Pound Town.
It's absolutely...
Did we just get an NC-17?
It's almost inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's almost inappropriate. I mean,
what was that dildo machine?
You're so good on drops. God, Fred, you should retire after hearing that. That's amazing. Oh, it's such a good drop. I never heard that before. Pound Town. I never heard Pound Town. Does anyone know what Pound Town is? I know.
Yeah, I know.
I know what it
It's
is. I'm saying
yeah.
I'd never heard it before in the phrase. Leave it to Sarah. She's all the fucking sexual nomenclature.
She does.
It's a sexy profession.
You have become
He's the CEO.
the CEO of Viacom.
Exactly.
This is a big deal.
I may fight you for the King of All Media title.
You might actually have to.
That's right.
Les, you were always a programming guy, a production guy produced programming, and now you're running all of Viacom, a multi-billion-dollar company.
Well, not all of Viacom. Viacom is splitting it to two.
Right, but you're running the important parts. Yes, yeah. You're running the important parts, not MTV.
The radio.
The radio. What else? Television?
CBS, UPN, Showtime, Simon & Schuster, all the radio, all the outdoor.
Again, this is just a couple months before the lawsuit's announced. They know exactly what they're doing. You know how many lawyers they have? I think Howard has, for an individual, what do they say in lawsuits? Bond and Sunflower Dragon, Frank the Tank, and everybody follow the money, right?
Oh,
Sue the guy with the money. That's why they're going after Howard. That shows you what a partner he is. They could sue anybody. They could sue. In the lawsuit, by the way, Buchwald is named individually, not just with it. He's individually named in the lawsuit. Howard, Buchwald, and Sirius are all being sued. So you follow the money, and he's got all the money. That's a partner.
So you weren't behind buying DreamWorks?
No, that was the other side.
That's the other guy.
Right, that's the other guy.
Right.
Tom Preston.
Very impressive. Well, let me say hi to Joel, of course. Joel Hollander, the head of the radio division. Les Moonves, the head of the company.
Thank you.
Thanks, Howard.
It's been an honor working here. You guys have been nothing but gentlemen to me.
Laughing at Sarah.
And it's uncomfortable, of course, leaving. It's an awkward situation. But we really we did some great things together here. There's going to be a big show on Friday, and I want to thank you guys for all of your support all along.
I think what's great, Howard, the last 3 or 4 weeks you seem to really enjoy yourself, reminiscing, and you deserve that. And as I've said before, you've made a lot of money for advertisers, for shareholders, everybody, and we appreciate it. And good luck in your new venture.
Right.
Howard, we really do. We're going to miss you big time. You know, you have been an important part of this company.
Thank you, Les.
I'm a big fan, believe it or not.
Does anyone know what the story is with Les Moonves and all his lawsuits in terms of the Me Too's and the sexual misconduct? And he got Me Too'd huge, but it really just went away. And I'm not saying that it seems like there's never been an update on it. Where does that lay right now?
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't want to give you work, Bond. I'm just isn't it just funny how it just vanished? It all.
No, I want to know. That's why
I know.
we
need a Me Too update on all these guys.
You've piqued my interest.
Julie Chen is his wife, who got all these CBS hosting jobs. Seems like a sweet woman. She's on Howard's show a lot, and she rolled with it. And I'm not saying I thought she was a good sport about it all, but like cronyism and nepotism, he got a lot. All you racists that said nepotism there, I tell you, you're going to be blocked. She hosted, was it Big Brother and The Talk, which is a knockoff of The View. And that's his wife. And did she divorce him after all that? Where does their relationship lay? Because I don't think they're divorced. I think she stuck around.
Oh, hold on. I think they are. I'm reading.
Serious. If you want to read it, go right ahead.
Yeah, she got. Okay, wait.
Anything?
This is intriguing me.
It's bizarre. I don't know where it
Maybe.
stands. That's why I said that. I don't understand where it's at. Stuck in
Maybe
a
you're
week.
right. Yeah,
Everybody
I
was
don't
sure
know.
she was gonna. Everybody was positive she was gonna divorce him, and it didn't happen. It's just kind of laid there, and she did like kind of I stand by my man kind of thing. And I think she actually came out and said, I'm going to stick with Les. Guys cheat and I'm going to work through this. And that's what we do. And which is admirable. I could see both ways when a broad just says, screw you. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Bye. Or the other one that says, look, guys are only as faithful as their options. I'll give you you get one shot and we'll work through it. Sometimes there's merit to that.
I think you are correct, and listen to this. So, following a series of sexual misconduct allegations against her husband, Les Moonves, in 2018, she began using her married name beginning with the September 13, 2018 episode of Big Brother, signing off with, "I'm Julie Chen Moonves.
Yes.
Good night."
Yes.
This broke her established pattern where she previously would sign off simply as Julie Chen. The sign off received a mixed response from viewers and fans on social media. CBS officially confirmed that she would return to host the second season of Celebrity Big Brother in a press release of November 27, using the name Julie Chen Moonves. You are correct, John.
Okay.
Wow. Stand by your man. What does everyone listening think of that? Leave us your thoughts, because I don't know. I want to hear some broads tell us what they think of that.
Well, that was what Hillary Clinton did. That was very similar to how she handled the Lewinsky thing. They gave her.
That's true.
Is it Tammy Wynette? That's that song. And she Hillary Clinton actually quoted. Yeah. She said so.
But I mean, he was the president, and I know what you mean. Stand by your man comes in when it's that powerful. But I guess he was Les was super powerful as well. It's crazy though. Have we got some broads in the chat telling us what they think of her keeping that name?
I've had friends
with him.
I've had friends who cheated on their wives and got caught, and they managed to salvage the marriage. I think I have, God, there must be 5 people I know at least. And the wife, all of them pretty sweet women, were just like, our family's worth patching this up. I'm gonna work through this. I think the collateral damage of a divorce is not worth, guys are dogs and they're only as faithful as their options, and I just don't want to ruin this family. So they all just, I don't know, like cooler heads prevailed and they patched the marriage up. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with you bailing on it. There's not as well. So I do see both sides. G Canada, that is the funniest thing ever. He goes, Arm's a typical American, terrible with geography. He couldn't find Pound Town on Google.
That might be the first time he said something that's made me chuckle a little.
He couldn't find Poon. I was about to say Dan the Song parody man, Poon.
Oh no, don't start.
Never mind. Frank the Tank, thank you, sir. Absolutely. Our lawyers know you cannot get blood from a stone. You go after the fat fish. Thanks, Frank. I did need your there's David now. David, I don't know if he's in Ohio. Down now. I get a little melancholy at the end of that. I get a little he evokes some emotions in me. I sound like a huge gay wad saying that, but David, that is brilliant. Speaking
you want it to be kind of a localized experience as much as possible.
What a drop. Who says David's not on the show? In Ohio for a Browns punt, pass, and kick. How do you know what that is? Everybody, save your gay jokes for this. That's a great line by David. Punt, pass, and kick. I thought you people didn't follow football. Oh my God, David. That's a great joke. Tamara
I can see
Francois,
a fun little boondoggle performance by the
boondoggle
band.
You're on fire with these drops. This might be your best work. And we're only like 1/3 in.
If Sarah's listening, I know that she's I know that you both are probably preparing for the Deppy Awards. I'm just saying, if there's an award for Word of the Year, if we bring it all back home to the show, if there's an award for Word of the Year, I think that
I could see a fun little boondoggle performance by the Dump Street Band.
I think that might win it because I wish I could put myself up there for nomination, but I could never compete with that. Could you, John? I don't think we've ever heard a word like that. I mean, Monique came up with a few crazy words in her time.
How about this?
Maze and an emphatic stroke of Byzantine whimsy.
Well,
he used Byzantine. How about this one?
Solomon Grundy, no legend of evil energy. It come from ancient monolith.
And the evil monolithic energy source that helped spawn him will give the Legion of Doom all the power we've ever dreamed of.
It's the power source, a monolith of evil.
Wow, my God.
That's got to be up there. That's got to be up there.
And something called a duvet.
I have no idea when I said that. Tamara Francois, this is a brilliant pop culture fact. And it's going to be my mission to find this episode. She says, Tam Fran says, little known fact, Les Moonves was on an episode of Living Single with Deion Sanders when he was an actor. Oh my God, we got to find that. We are Living Single is the Black Friends, and I think it came first. We are living single in a 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my girl. I used to brag to my black friends that I watched Living Single instead of Friends on Thursday night. Hell.
We didn't get that show here, I don't think.
Nah, I didn't think you would
got
in
most
Australia.
of them. We got the worst ones we got were I can't remember what it was. There was some spin-offs of shows like I don't know, like we're talking really bad shows like I'm
hanging
with Mr. Cooper or something like that.
Guess who was on that? Guess who was on that? Holly Robinson.
You're right.
That? Yes.
Yeah. Did she have a major role on that?
Yeah, she was the female lead with Disney.
Hey, John and Sarah, it's Holly Robinson Pete. How you doing?
She's been in a ton of stuff. I mean, I was talking to Black Morticia Adams about this, that Depp needs to have a black female lead stat the next time he does a movie. He goes from Jump Street, right, which is the cast is half black with Steve Williams and Holly Robinson. He doesn't do another black movie with a multiracial cast where it's since 2018 in City of Lies. You can't go more white with Tim Burton all that time. He waits 28 years to do another thing resembling a black movie with black actors.
That's crazy.
Yep. And we talked about how, and it was Judy Tenuta that put the idea in my head, no female directors until Ma went 100 movies, one female director, Ma went, and that's because of Prince MBS and Saudi money. So I don't even count that. No female directors, 100 movies. Crazy.
Yep. Sarah's making... She's at it again. You'll get to her comment. She's making another slightly salty, inappropriate. It's a little inappropriate, probably for this. This is a family podcast, but.
Ron, did you pause Moonves? I can't. I'm not seeing.
No,
is it on your end?
It wants you to press play again. Just on the screen, you can see it, can't you? See on the left next to Jason.
I've even gotten.
You're playing.
There you go. Yeah, but you can play it as well, can't you?
You took the authority away from it.
No, I didn't.
No, I know. I don't know what happened. It transferred you.
Do you want to remove it and bring it back? Wait, what were we up to? 1 minute 58. Bring it back to 1
Really?
minute 58.
I'm not supposed to do it.
You just got edited.
Only because of you. No, I'm allowed to.
I got edited.
You did.
I got edited.
All right, listen.
But
Howard, 100
we are rooting for you, not that much, but we're rooting for you. We really are, and
there's room for everyone.
There really is, and we wish you lots of success.
Are we going to all hold hands now and sing Kumbaya?
Anything you want.
Yeah,
right. Well, Gary, I'm rude. Les and Joel, I didn't introduce you to Gary. Gary, Les, and Joel.
Hello, Gary.
Yeah, well,
nice to meet you.
It's going to be an emotional goodbye.
Yep.
I can't believe we're down to 2 shows. It seems like for the longest time, it's been a year that I'm leaving. And now that it's all coming to fruition, I know that I'm just freaked out by the whole thing.
Right. I told you yesterday I couldn't even name the emotion. It was very strange.
Bizarre. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. I've been here so long and been part of the company, and you guys really have been very, very nice to me. And really, as I've said in private to both of you, this move had nothing to do with you guys and the company. This had to do with the FCC and the constraints I felt. And I feel like maybe I can grow in a different way and try something new for myself. And see what happens. But who knows?
Totally understand. If they would have given me that kind of money, I would have left too.
You goddamn right. You would have never.
Absolutely.
And let me remind everyone of your beautiful wife, Julie.
Thank you very much.
You should know that Mr. Moonves is getting ready to celebrate his first anniversary.
Oh,
no kidding.
Right.
Next week's my first anniversary, and
you know, after your divorce, I figured you were going to be a playboy for a while. I figured you were going to go out on the town.
So did I.
I really did.
What happened with that plan?
What happened?
Oh, you can pause it. I can't. It took the privileges away from me. I can't. I swear to God, I can't. So they've been married 20 years.
No. I can't take the privileges. You own the privileges.
You'd think. I can't pause. I can't pause it. I can't do anything. It's like
I'm so right on this, aren't I, Sarah? He's the privilege. He's got the admin. I'm just the underling, I think. I don't know how that's happening, John, and I need you to have that control.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
We're near the end of this one, aren't we? So when you bring up the next one, I'm not going to touch it.
Just you can hit play. I can't do it. I can't hit play.
Oh yeah, okay. Are we ready to go? Just talk, and I'll pause it. You know how slight minor technical hitches here. Everyone listening, we apologize.
Your plan, because my plan got screwed up too.
You know what? I met Julie, and it was like over. I said,
"That's it.
This is a grand slam home run, and don't be stupid." And I did the right thing.
You did the right thing. You're happy.
I am so happy. I can't tell you.
And Joel, when is your divorce?
Big fella.
Right, I got it. But.
What would Howard do if all they had to do is, and it's sitting right there, but I guess these executives know how to be politicians. If either Hollander or Moonves said back to him, what about your divorce, Howard? What's the stipulation? Can you talk about Allison?
Oh God, that's orgasmic in my mind. If they'd said that, it's like that's fan fiction, John. That's fan fiction.
How casual Howard is, and laissez-faire talking about their divorce. But if they volleyed it back, which is what one should do, it's not like this is you talk about my divorce. Oh, so I guess that's fair game. We can talk about you and Allison. My question would be, if they really want to slay him, what does Allison get in your Sirius deal?
That'd kill him. I think he'd pass out almost.
He'd pass out. That would be amazing. You talk about using that 120-second delay. I think it was only 7 seconds at a terrestrial, but he might have had a bigger one. I remember being on hold, Bon, and there was much more than 7 seconds between me and it was like a minute or two. Believe me, I was on hold and it was not 7 seconds. It was significant. So if he did that, by the way, how great is it how apropos that alimony has Allison the prefix in the title. How great is that?
Words, the power of words. That's what I love so much.
It's like, ha ha ha, your divorce, ha ha ha, Joel. All they had to say was, "What about your divorce, Howard? What does Allison get in the serious money?"
Yeah, and then he'd be eating the SHIT.
Yes.
John, you're not going to believe this. This has just come through on my notifications. There you go. That just came through.
Yeah, we were talking about Burton and how if Burton really wanted to shock everybody, he'd do a black movie. Because he got criticized. He's never had a black lead in any movie he's ever done. He's had 2 black actors in the like top 10 in the call sheet in his entire career. It's translucent how white his movies are. He goes, now this to me, this is a euphemism for the N-word. He goes, they don't fit the right aesthetic.
Yeah, you don't want to be saying that. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that.
And then he moves to England, which doesn't get any whiter than that. Aesthetic. My new N-word is aesthetic.
He's got huge balls to say that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look, I'm clicking the like button on that. A thumbs up on the top right-hand corner. But that just came up in my notification. Isn't that fascinating that it was... Anyway, should we go back to...
Rusty trombone. Go ahead, finish it.
All right. Now it's not playing for me. Look at that.
That's so
Hold on. Now it is.
I thought it was great. I mean, I've been asking 60 Minutes to do a piece on you for like 5 years. Now you're leaving and they do a piece on you.
Isn't that strange?
I'm glad how much they listen to me. But
by the way,
it was a great piece.
It really was a great piece.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and everybody else. You know what I was mentioning to Les on the way in. I don't think there's been any singular event that I can remember in the media. Just the PR, newspapers, you really did an unbelievable job.
Wow, thanks. And thank you. And thank you for letting me have a last show. It's very rare in radio that someone is nice enough.
Someone gets one, yeah.
Someone gets a last show. Usually get booted right out the door. And I think the fans appreciate that. And I think that that goes a long way with people who listen to this show, that you guys are enabling us on Friday to do a final show.
Well, Howard, they came here to tell you. No.
Oh, did you come here to tell me there's no final show?
We're going to go meet at the Beacon again in about an hour.
Did you give me the boot?
About 20 minutes and then you're off the air.
Well, thanks, guys, for coming in. And we're going to take a break. Gary, thank you. We'll see you on Friday. Les Moonves and the great Joel Hollander. And thank you guys for stopping by. And we'll be back right after these.
Okay, that's the tone from them, right? So cut to now 2 months later. So now we're in February of 2006. He's been at Sirius, and this is announced. I mean, they had that in the works, as they should. They just let him go, and they let him bury himself, and I guess they use it again. What I wouldn't give to have been in that meeting with Moonves and Hollander and the lawyers behind the scenes. And by the way, this press conference, Bond, as we go to find out, it is at Howard's lawyer's office. So apparently this is like a boardroom in Howard's legal team and their offices where that is. I thought it was like an actual like press arena somewhere, but no, it's actually at his lawyer's office.
That's crazy.
It is. He says
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It looks like it's an actual sort of formal room. Wow. Thank you for that info. That's brilliant. See, you're the ferret. You ferreted out the information. I'm going to make an image of you as a ferret so I can bring it up, you know.
Okay, so this is Howard announcing he's being sued. This is just before the press conference. He comes on his show that day, announces he's being sued, and then he has an exit, a very, very weird exit at the end. And I'll play that just before the press conference. So this is Howard announcing he's being sued.
Nice.
Article also in the Post today, page 6. The New York Post.
Thank you, Loser Club.
It points out that there's been something going on for the past couple of months. Les Moonves and Joel Hollander have decided to sue me. They're preparing a lawsuit against me. I actually met with them a few days ago. I'm not going to comment on that now. I might comment on it later. Really?
What are they suing you for?
They're suing me because I talked about Sirius satellite radio on their airwaves. What they're forgetting is that
I still can't
they gave me permission to do it.
Yeah, they allowed it.
There's no way I could ever...
Isn't that bizarre?
What do you think happened here? I don't mind you doing it, but I'm adding it, and you have the privileges to play it and stop it.
But
it's
I don't.
So weird.
Sarah, sweetheart, Sarah knows this. Look at what Sarah wrote, by the way. It's talk about words. I love this. Look, Kenny Bunkport, Maine.
Did you get the
Kenny
right?
Bunkport, surprise. The only reason I know how to say that word is that Letterman used to say Kenny Bunkport.
Yeah, he was always bringing up. That's what Bush. I think the Bush family had a summer home there. Or yeah. That's exactly.
You know how, like, I'm always on the search for drops. This breaks my heart that she isn't on to say that. Ugh.
I know, right?
Like I would just salivate. I'd just be like drooling. Ugh. Thanks,
welcome
Sarah,
to the Deppening family, Maria Adelaide Cruz Fernandez. Welcome to the Deppening Lotus Notes family, as a matter of fact. MACF.
Look at this, how stupid this streaming software is. It translates an emoji to a hands, yellow, heart, red. I've never seen something more stupid in my life. It's so stupid. Oh my God.
Gaber Gadisa?
Oh.
Again.
I'm going to have to play this, John, so you just...
All right, I can't play it. I can't play the thing.
I know, but hold
Nobby,
on.
I can't get out. I can't get out.
I know. All you have to do is say this. Just say
not...
this to me when you want me to pause it.
Sissy, you pause it.
Ever. There is no way I could ever get on the radio and do that without them hitting 17 delay buttons if I was doing something against them. Les Moonves not only came in our last day and said he bought Sirius Satellite Radio and listens to it, wishes me well, threw a couple of $100,000 party for me when I left.
Right. Joel congratulated you.
Joel congratulated. I didn't mention Sirius.
That's
they
the
did.
Genius of it. Throw him a party. Go with it. That's the genius of it.
And now, Clarabelle?
Well, I had a meeting with them where I said, listen, guys, I don't know what you're doing, and now I understand why they're doing it. Les Moonves and Joel Hollander are they're in a big mess. Les, I'm going to talk about it more later. I'm not going to do it now. I was flummoxed. I was like, well, Mel even went to see Les, and Mel said to him, well, why'd you let him on the air doing that stuff? Why didn't you tell him?
You could have fired him at any time.
Or you could have hit the delay button. And he goes, I let him talk about it, and I knew I could sue him later. If anything, he's saying he set me up.
Then he has no grounds because he let it happen.
Right, that's ridiculous. Les Moonves is a guy who's never gone after anyone except for Dan Rather and his...
Thank you, Chubby Pickle. Thank you, sir. Gotta go off topic. John and Bon, did you guys... He means the pickle. He doesn't mean a euphemism for penis. He just means the actual pickle that's chubby. John and Bon, did you guys watch the Chips back in the day? Love that theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We had this thing that we'd call the Melbourne show, and it was like you'd get these show bags. Did you ever have this kind of thing where you'd go to this big, I don't know, like place, and you'd have all this different, like, it's for kids, it's all different farm animals are there, and then there's like other sections, and you get to learn stuff. Yes. And they have show bags that you could buy, and these bags would have all this merch in them. So they had a Chips show bag, and it cost like $10. Right? Yeah, and you'd get... They'd throw in action figures. They'd throw in the aviator glasses. You'd get a Chips poster. And they had all different show bags. Like they had the A-Team, and then they had all these ones. And as a kid, you'd be like, I'm getting this show bag, I'm getting this show bag. And the Chips one I got, I remember distinctly, I loved that show. I loved it as a kid. That and MacGyver. And they'd have a MacGyver show bag, and that would have like a watch or something, like a military type watch. And then it'd have a plastic, you can pick locks with this fake lock pick, all this bullshit.
Who am I? Larry Wilcox over here.
What does that mean? Who is he?
that was Ponch and John. That was John. That was the guy. No one. Everyone knows Estrada, but Larry Wilcox played John.
Oh, his partner. The two guys. Was it ever sort of? Did anyone ever say that those guys were in a relationship? You know, like, or did they both have girlfriends in the show or wives? Can't remember. I don't know.
That's a great. I don't have a vivid enough memory, but what were their personal lives? That's a great question. I don't remember any. I say none. I don't remember them. They were all single, right?
It could be a homoerotic sort of thing that goes on. You know how they do these things in these buddy movies. There's this, like in Lethal Weapon, they're hugging. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I know. That's a great question about the personal lives. I have no idea. I'm gonna look in Don Ohlmeyer, right? PC. That was another executive. That's the guy who fired Norm Macdonald from Saturday Night Live, and he was one of those executives who would sort of fail up, and they would keep jumping from network. He was a Monday Night Football producer, as a matter of fact. Don Ohlmeyer. Chief phone. Hi there. This is classic. Maria Adelaide Cruz Fernandez is just, we call her MACF, of course. Hi there. My hands to heaven and pray. Just a way of saying, hi, I love this. No need to be unpleasant sharing your opinion about it. No, that was a compliment. No one's being unpleasant. We would never,
We weren't being
ever
unpleasant.
be unpleasant to Maria Adelaide Cruz Fernandez. Ever. It's the last thing we do. Mr. Villataro is a very Hispanic chat today, right?
It's all over the place.
Used about losing money to Allison. Yes, at Mr. Villataro, and that was shut down. Allison, who does not have a forum to speak and defend herself, had to hear him on the air defaming her that she's just gold digging and the system's rigged and how he doesn't get half, and the Allison Stern, Simon Burns smear campaign. And so Allison's lawyers shut it down. She got half his money for a very long time. I don't know what the New York rules are. She may still get it. I know that she got a great deal, as she should. And I couldn't be more excited about it. Howard lost exactly one time in his life. Yes, Rick. Yes. And that was to Allison. For him, the thought of losing money, again, literally brought him to tears. You could hear him crying during this, Rick. He sounds shook.
Oh,
you could
God,
tell by the intonation. Yes. Go ahead.
He hasn't been sleeping since it happened, and you find that out when they do this press conference that we're about to see. He says that just a few days ago that they made public the lawsuit. So he's been up all night putting this 20-minute speech together. It's absolutely crazy.
Two producers, and Dan Rather and his two producers were the guys that he blamed for that whole,
Yeah, he let him.
Those two producers did not deserve to be fired. Who's barely running the radio division, knows nothing about radio.
He cares about the producer.
And in order to cover up what you just read,
he doesn't
the
care
fact
about
that he put
any
no
of those.
attention on the radio division, that radio division, and here's my prediction, is going to flounder, and it's going to expose Les and Joel for the two that they are.
He sounds like he's doing ASMR, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, I'm get up close. It's like this. I'm going to take these guys on, and I'm going to take them down. These guys have no idea what they're doing. This is the sound of me making...
Amber is fapping herself to your voice right now.
Oh, the broad is, if I ever come to America, I'm going to be meeting up with Amber at the airport, and we're going to go into the bathroom.
at Newark Airport or Detroit.
They are going to be the laughing stock. This lawsuit is to distract you from what is going on in the radio division.
But how could anybody even entertain it?
My lawyer said to me, "Don't even worry about it. It's a total joke. There is absolutely no validity to it." And I said to Les, "Why are you doing this?"
But I mean, really, can they get a lawyer to even write this up?
Not only did they get a lawyer to write it up, but the fact is, Les looked at me and goes, he said it's not personal, it's business.
Bond, pause
25 times.
So he's about to repeat the same. So he's written himself bad jokes, and he tells the jokes here, and there he's waiting for. He repeats the same jokes in the actual press conference that you remastered. So what you're hearing here are repeated jokes that he has written out for himself. And I suppose it sounds like the work of Benji. They're so hacky. So let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Said it's not personal, it's business. 25 times. So that means it's personal.
Right.
And then he goes, I had to learn about you leaving for Sirius on my birthday. And I go, what are you, 12 years old?
Nigga, please.
I go, it ruined your birthday? What are you, 10? Is that going to...
Did you have his birthday on your calendar? Did you plan it that way?
Yeah, Bond.
The Clay...
He's worried about getting ruined on his birthday while Howard has a $4 million birthday party thrown for him by Sirius in 2014. Who's more immature?
It ruined your birthday? What are you, 10? Is that going to...
Did you have his birthday on your calendar? Did you plan it that way?
The Clay Aiken lawsuit is actually more legit than that.
Well, and I just said, you know what? It's probably just going to bring me more publicity.
Oh, yeah. I hope so.
Welcome that.
If you read the Post article today, which is unbelievable, it says every time Les hears my name, he turns beet red, which is hard to do through all that Botox.
And the tanning.
Okay.
There you go. That's comedy.
So
that's Benji, I guess.
He repeats Those jokes are repeated at the actual press conference, by the way. I just want to say a word about it. So Artie's here, right? And Artie's trying to do the thing where he's like, yeah, I don't know. Howard's doing the professional victim thing. So if you're Artie and you know that this bonus came as a result of your popularity and making, how much sympathy are you know, in Artie's mind, he's got to be going, you motherfucker, you got a $225 million bonus because of me making the bonus, because people are following me over here and I'm not even getting shit. You're not giving me any piece of it. Do you really want in Artie's mind, he is seething, knowing that he gets no cut, he gets no bonus of his, and he can barely offer his own, comforting ear during this.
I don't even know. I don't.
Artie's so responsible for him meeting his bonus.
I don't even know though if Artie would have got it at that point. He was so used, kind of just going along with everything. I don't even know if he would have put that together. If you told him that, he might have gone, "Yeah, I never thought about it that way," because he's just sort of like, "I'm so lucky to be here," Yeah, but you are right. Like a lot of people are happy, but I mean, we have to be kind of realistic that you and everybody else who was listening were going to Sirius regardless of Artie. If Artie had left or quit, you'd still be like, of course I'm signing up with Sirius, wouldn't you? Yeah.
No, I think that
really?
I think Artie had a swath. He won the popularity contest. They voted on who do you like best on the show. So the guy that you like, and everybody voted. So the guy who's not, you think if he moves there with no comedian sitting in the Jackie chair, those same people are going to follow him?
I don't know.
You're getting the current show you have now is what would have moved to Sirius.
That's different. No, the show wasn't as bad as now.
I'm talking from 2010. For most people, is when it got really shitty. So think about those shows. That show moves to Sirius. You're following him? You're going to pay?
I don't know.
No comedian?
You got to remember at the time, it's such a long time ago. Like he hyped it so much. I don't know. I'm wondering, what does everyone listening think? I'm keen for some opinions. We'll just finish this off. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's absolutely laughable. I told you, I went to the meeting and I actually got teary and they thought that was like a sign of weakness, like I must be scared of their dumb lawsuit. It was just so sad to me. I said, I took this company and I worked for 20 years. I gave him 14 months notice.
So you hear that, Bon?
I checked with Joel. I said, is it okay if I talk about Sirius? If you don't want me to, he says, I don't want you to
And what's he really crying about? It's not about you're not appreciated for you. How many birthdays did they pay for you? And you're crying about Moonves' birthday. What he's crying about is the fact he's exposed as a fucking huckster and a con man to his fans.
That's
and
right.
It's brought up, and the whole thing was an infomercial to get you. And what has been published in the paper and most every media outlet is the $225 million bonus that's out there. So his whole money and cash grab that's what he's crying about, that he's being exposed as the fucking con man, snake oil salesman that he is. He's not crying about that he's not appreciated.
And if it goes further, they go through Discovery, they're going to put out everything about him.
You're so right.
He can't back down. But he knows that's the fear. But you're right. What you're saying, he's scared shitless about his privacy.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Isn't it crazy?
That probably is number one. I'm gonna have to. Oh God, you're so right.
Because he's like Trump. He doesn't want anyone knowing how much he's paying in taxes, or if he's paid taxes, he won't give the information out.
That's exactly right. That's the comparison. So George Conway, who's one of the Republicans who turned on his own party, and he's part of the Lincoln Project, he said that that's Trump's biggest nightmare is the discovery. Sunflower Dragon said that too in one of the chats, that the discovery part of Trump is not even that they'll just what the taxes he doesn't pay, what he got away with. Howard's worse than Trump probably.
Yeah.
where you're absolutely spot the fuck on. What a great
And that would have
point by
leaked
you.
so quick, Trump's information, if it was all in discovery. And then if people found out Trump only has $800 million in the bank, people would have been like, what?
Yeah, you're not a billionaire? Right.
Oh,
This is all,
what?
You didn't pay taxes for 12 years and you're worried about
Yeah.
you're giving but Howard is a whole other level of trying. And like I said, this is all about money. He has not brought up one proper figure yet. Not one numerical figure has been offered. And everything about this is numerical figures. He will not say $225 million bonus. He will not say he makes $100 million a year. He will not bring up nothing. You're so right. You're brilliant point by you. Phenomenal, Bon. It is about the discovery, no doubt.
By name, so I called it.
Right.
That's the end. Okay, he was just
Okay,
saying
good.
how he's even there, and he does this in the press conference. He's trying to rationalize, like, I wouldn't say their name. I went It's a weak little argument, but yeah, there we go.
In this case, I don't know who the man is. You know how stick it to the man. I don't know who he's a partner. He's follow the money. He makes more than Moonves or Hollander does. I don't know who the man is in this situation. All I do know is that he going to Sirius, right? He has this. He promotes it for a year and a half. Why would any executive trying to preserve their radio division let him do that? Why would they encourage him to promote the other place? They know Howard better than anybody does, and how he wants to bury his enemies. His mission is that he's leaving CBS Radio, but he doesn't want them to replace him. And so anyone that's in there is doomed before they even start, whether it's David Lee Roth or Opie and Anthony or Carolla on the West Coast. You're leaving them, but he now goes on to defame their hosts on his air, and that's what I believe Moonves and Hollander are pissed at. He goes away, and he can't just leave it alone and go, okay, you do your thing. I'm over here at Sirius. I'm a partner. I have no restrictions on me. I can do whatever I want. I have no human resources. I have this half the building, for Christ's sake. But that's not good enough. He has to go on and he has to bash David Lee Roth half every show, starting his monologue every day. Why? What would you admit if he were good? No. It's not like he would be, he does a great job. He's not imitating him, which David Lee Roth, to his credit, did not imitate him. He tried to do his own thing. Okay, he's not meant to do radio, whatever, but would Howard admit if it were good? Why would you need to tear them down? You should be happy they have somebody crappy.
Yeah.
But
there's something wrong with him in his brain, like the narcissist and the.
Yes, he has to have everything. You can't even replace him. Like, even to the tune of, they're not gonna succeed. But the executives, in my opinion, are super pissed that he's done nothing but bash their radio division. They didn't have an all talk format until he left. It was music. And they should have replayed his show in the afternoon, but he was too greedy. He wanted to double his salary or something, and the syndication and stuff. They easily should have replayed his show in the afternoon when he was on terrestrial.
Yes,
because you missed it all the time. And he wouldn't allow it streamed, and he wouldn't allow it to be replayed in the afternoon because they wanted insane money.
That's crazy. It's amazing. Like him and Buckwald had such a plan of years of planning. It's unbelievable. It's masterful. I guess you can't really deny it.
I think word got back to Moonves and Hollander. They said, "Look, Howard's not going as separate. He feels the need to tear down your radio division on a daily basis on his air to fuck your entire thing. And now we're going to play hardball, and now we're going to sue him for, over promoting Sirius on the air." And we have all the evidence. They go into a tape fight too later on. And all right, so the next thing I'm going to play this is later in the show. He announces he's got to leave the show early. Dave Chappelle, the Schwarzer comedian, wants to come on. Dave Chappelle has not been on the show since this is the last time he's ever brought up. So he ruins his relationship with Dave Chappelle because he runs off the show early. Dave Chappelle wants to stop in. He hasn't been on since. And so this is him telling he's going to blow off Dave Chappelle, who wants to come in. He's right around the corner. Dave Chappelle has not been on in 20 years, and this is the last time he was brought up. Dave Chappelle actually sat in on the Artie in the Jackie chair in those years in 2001, that you know, where Artie and Carolla and Jeff Cesario and Jeff Ross and Joe Rogan and Fitzsimmons and Chauncey and Vinny Favale and AJ Benza. So Chappelle was one of those guys, and a lot of people forget he did that. And that's a series we should do, is the Jackie chair. So this is
let's.
Dave Chappelle has been pissed ever since, hasn't spoken to Howard until Seinfeld's birthday party. And so here it is. A lot of
Run something by you, just so I don't get the short end of the stick and you guys get mad at me later. You're rushing to get off. It's not rushing, but you're going to get off the air in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Because Dave Chappelle's people just called me, and he's like on 35th and Park, and he'd swing by. But I said we're getting off the air. But I want to make sure that I'm not screwing something up for you.
I got to leave. I have no choice.
He said he'd try to call in tomorrow. He's leaving town.
Well, I mean, it would have been...
Listen, I said to them, I've had a request.
I don't have a choice. I got to actually leave.
So I just want to make sure I'm making the right decision.
You're killing me with that. I would love to talk to Chappelle.
Yeah, we're all now dying.
Tell him to stop by for 10 minutes.
Shut that fucking music off.
I don't know what to do, because I know if I don't get off the air by 10 or 10:05, I'm effed.
Then it's done, because he couldn't be here until 10 or 10:05. And then you'd want to do a half an hour with him easily.
Yeah, what's 5 minutes with him?
Yeah, you know.
It's not like we're going to get anything done.
It's impossible. Have him call in tomorrow.
That's what he's going to do.
That's a shame. Right. I listen, you guys know I'm here till 11 o'clock, sometimes 11:30, 12. Today is a particularly important day because I've got something to do that actually is quite distasteful, but I have to do it nevertheless.
That's like Robin said, 5 minutes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you
talk to
can't
that
handle
guy
it. Yeah,
that's an hour.
We got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something we need to just talk about. He can make his meeting any time he
it's
wants.
in his lawyer, exactly right.
He can make it at 7
office.
p.m. at night. Yeah, and everyone will be there.
Yep. This isn't right. This is not scheduled by. This is not a network doing this. You're not going on Letterman. This is your meeting at your lawyer's office. Your stations. You have 2 fucking stations on Sirius. Howard 100, and you want a third. 101, Howard 100, and 101. And you can't extend this? Isn't the whole point of coming to Sirius is that you can do shit like this and stretch things out? Isn't that the whole point?
God, it's such a entitlement to and he has to say how it's very distasteful, like setting it up, and it's
he gets
like,
off on
wow,
blowing off.
man.
He thinks Chappelle's beneath him. He gets off on blowing him off. And by the way, he doesn't get Chappelle's show. Like he's the worst. Howard is the worst fan of comedy. He doesn't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. He doesn't watch any of these.
Did he ever watch the Ricky Gervais Office? Did he ever talk about The Office? Because if he didn't watch that, I would say that this guy has no clue. Like anyone, I would have, back then when that came out, all I watched was that. I couldn't stop watching it. I just kept watching it over and over and over, like Seinfeld. When I first started loving Seinfeld, like I was just, and I've never heard Howard even talking about it. It's just every comedian, everyone has praised that Ricky Gervais.
He's a low IQ dullard. It
pisses me off.
He's a teenage girl. He has no radar for comedy. That's why when Jackie and Artie left, the show is completely bankrupt of all things laughs. He has no radar for comedy. Zero. And this is what he doesn't get these shows. He's a teenage girl. He's watching Dawson's fucking Creek and
oh my God.
Right? I mean, that's his ballywick. Banana Yams. I thought that was effect you put on the video as a compliment for Bon. I love that name, Banana. Banana Yams, welcome to there's Chief Phony Feathers. He's the best, Frank Poncherello. Go ahead, Bon. I still can't do anything with this. So I'm going to take it out.
It's a little bit. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now we go to the press conference. Bon Jovial put this together. I guess he remastered it. This is the press conference. It's really only
sucks. Don't get excited, everyone watching. The visual sucks hard.
15 minutes.
It makes me so angry. The quality's so low. Like, oh, and it's not even there's all these mics in front of him, but none of them are going into the camera. That's the cameras that are filming it. So that's why you hear these freaking really loud camera, because all the people taking photos are near wherever the camera that's filming it is. It's all screwed up. It pisses me off. So I'm sorry. I had
Don't
to
worry
go on
about
a
it.
rant there.
You didn't film it. You didn't film. You had nothing to do with it. You just remastered it. You tried to fucking spit shine shit, and you do what you can.
This
It's
is
all
the
right. We'll get the
worst.
point. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
Oh, it's fine for the audio's. Oh, it could be so much worse. The audio could be so much worse.
I actually shine. You want me to show you what I did? I'm playing yours, but this is what I did. I shined it up. So this came from my video proc. Before I play it, though, I want to say a few words about Dave Chappelle. So Chappelle's on this, right? They say to him, "Okay, can't like I said, you could extend. He owns these channels. He can do whatever he wants. He can extend it, like you said, even better." The press conference is whatever he wants it to be at whatever time. Dave Chappelle has been pissed at Howard for 20 years. He took affront to this. To give you an update, he's not on the next day. He doesn't call in. I believe they didn't even follow up on it. They blew him off. I believe Chappelle listened to the show and found out they had Bob Levy and Brooke Hogan on and all this shit. And he's like, "You motherfucker, you blew me off of this white trash, lowbrow bullshit." And then he hasn't spoken to him in 20 years. Because of this. That's the last time he was referenced. And you've heard Howard through the years go, "Oh, I think he's mad at me. I don't know why he's mad at me." That's why he's mad at you. And who can blame him? He's a way bigger name. He's an icon now in comedy. It's crazy. But he doesn't get his show. He doesn't watch it. He has no respect for him. Howard thinks Chappelle is beneath him, by the way, at that point. And so I don't blame Chappelle for not coming on. I would do it's about time someone did that, you know? Oh, fuck you. They're all ego. Like Chappelle's got an ego, and it's probably as big as Howard's in his own way, but he is way more respected in every way, shape, and form. So that's going to play. This is just really quick. I'm going to play what mine looks like, and you can take it out, and we'll put yours in. All I did was brighten.
No, I don't mind. I love it that you brighten it. Tell the audience about what you do to movies, TV shows that you download, because I found it absolutely fascinating.
So I find that all the drama shows now and TV, they shoot them too murky. They're too dark, and I don't know what they're going for, but you can't see. My eyes are. I'm Mr. Magoo and Matt Murdock. I can't see anyway. So when there's something a scene in the dark, so I light it about 50%. Like all the Netflix, like Daredevil and all those Marvel shows, you can't. They're so murky. And it's like they don't want, or they're going for some artistic thing that doesn't exist. So I use this video program, and I light every show that I watch by about 50%, and I kind of sharpen it at the same time so it doesn't detract. And I'm telling you, it is so much better than what they put out. I do it with Mayor of Kingstown all the time. I sharpen and brighten it by 50%, and it so enhances the experience. And I raise the volume. So the whisper acting and the mumbling, that takes care of that. So here is Howard in my version of it.
Now I'm being told that CBS wants to file a lawsuit against me.
Stay with that.
No, you work so hard on yours. You use yours. I do is
changed. You haven't changed anything. That's fine. Let's go. It looks. I wouldn't have noticed a difference. It's perfect. I'm loving you. It's a collaboration. This is what we do here.
And I'll go into it. But, I thought it was particularly interesting that today, of all days, we read in the New York Post, Daily News, all around the country about the radio division. And what does it say in the paper?
Crazy Robbins just said we've had a lovers quarrel again. Is that what he meant? Is that what they meant? Us just going back and forth? Because I'll tell you right now, that would be a huge problem if you and I were, in my dream, we're living together in like a huge MacGyver-like a warehouse, living together, because I have OLED TV and I've set it up so it's exactly the way the director would want it to look. So if you fucked with the brightness and all that, I would be sitting there going, I am not watching this with you. I'm not watching this because
is that what it is, OLED? That's why they have it all murky and shit? It's bullshit.
No, OLED gives you the best blacks. The QLED is what everyone's buying now, but the OLED, it's much more expensive. It's thousands of dollars more, but it gives you the perfect blacks. So I watch a movie like Seven, David Fincher, which you must have had the hardest
Sarah
time
loves
in the
that
cinema.
Sarah
but
loves that movie.
you must have hated that movie because David Fincher made it so dark. And same with Fight Club. Both of those movies are so dark that you would have been like, I got to turn it up to 100 brightness. And I would have been like, you touch the brightness, I'm going into my room to watch it. I'd rather watch it on my phone than have to crank it up. So that would be difficult. I think I'd educate you. I'd try and talk you out of it. I'd get you wasted drunk before we watch movies, and then I'd be like, it's fine, I can't find the remote control, and you'd be like, no, I'm not. we would be like the Odd Couple.
Seven, the Deppening, the Brad Pitt episode of Jump Street. We did it's 4 hours and 20 minutes on the Patreon. Depp turned down 7, by the way. Did you know that? He was supposed to get he turned down the Brad Pitt role in 7.
And he would have been better than Brad, I think, for sure.
Yeah, he plays a great cop. He's a great crime drama.
Brad is the weak link in that movie.
I agree.
Gwyneth is great, and Morgan is phenomenal. It's probably might be his best. Oh, Kevin Spacey's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The best years of your life is the episode. But it's the Suicide episode about teen Suicide. And Brad Pitt's in that episode. And I did the Weintraub segment. And I talked about all the Brad Pitt roles that Depp turned down, like Thelma and Louise and Seven, and anything in the 90s. Brad Pitt was second choice for Crybaby, by the way, after Depp. He got he didn't get it. Yeah, he tried out for John Waters.
I wish Brad Pitt had got Crybaby and Depp had got Seven, because holy crap, Depp would have. You need that.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Brad Pitt looked too pretty boy in that movie. I was like, man, you watch it, you go, man, this guy's good looking. Wow.
100%, Bon. I would way rather have Depp do 7 than Crybaby. 100%.
I'm happy for Brad Pitt to get it because it was such a good movie for him, for everyone. It was just such a fucking crazy movie.
I give Brad Pitt this. I like him. I think he makes the most out of the opportunities he gets as a... he's given the gift of pretty privilege and born on third base looks wise, but he makes the most out of the talent that he has. I think Depp's supremely more talented than he is in every way, but Brad Pitt chooses very wisely with what he gets. And I wouldn't have said that 20 years ago, but now he really he's doing the most he can do.
He's doing what Depp should have been doing.
Yep.
I mean, the freaking his work with Tarantino. Oh my God, Depp should be doing that.
100%.
Inglourious Bastards. Depp would have been great in that role.
He was up for like 5 different things in Pulp Fiction and didn't get it. He didn't get the first offer, but he was up. Tarantino wanted him, and it didn't happen. And Mike Yander is sending me a cease and desist. That's my friend from that I brought up before. Brendan, that's a great line. I'm sorry, Bob.
Imagine Depp now at his age now and the way he looks playing John Travolta's role in Pulp Fiction.
I could see
that would have worked. Yeah,
I could see
he
that.
needs that now. He needs a Tarantino to bring him back, and I can't wait. It's going to happen.
No doubt.
Record losses in ratings. I left CBS. They had 14 months to prepare for me leaving. And lo and behold, we see already that the decision to go with David Lee Roth, Adam Carolla, a guy named Rover, and all these morning shows, the radio division at CBS is in shambles.
Okay, Bond.
It's in shambles.
I see what you just said there. So he can't stop himself from defaming their other hosts. Why bring them up? You say, "Oh, they're beneath me. They suck. Look at me." That's fine. We know. We get it. You're more popular. We get it. You're bigger than they are. Why are you bringing them up? That's what you've been doing on the air. That's why they're suing you. He did it again. And by the way,
he's trying to justify that with what he says in a moment, which is weird. And I'll be interested in.
He's playing the victim as he always does. And all the legal people like Sunflower Dragon, Frank the Tank, and most lawyers wouldn't want you to do this, right? I mean, isn't that like this is like a no-no where your client is going out on his own shield that he thinks he can represent himself better than they can legally, right? This is like a no-no, right? Don't you like kind of bury yourself. They don't want clients doing this. Isn't that a no-no in the legalese?
This is what some reporters at near the end ask a few things, which we'll wait to see. But you're right on. You're spot on. The reporters ask you a question near the end, and this is, and remember, this is just a few days after they filed this lawsuit. He found out that this is going to happen, so he's cobbled this together, and he's gone straight from work. He's finished his show, and he's maybe I don't know how the law works, but maybe lawsuits are all announced on Fridays or something. So he's had the weekend to worry.
Yes.
And put it all together. Does anyone know? Am I completely wrong? I don't know. You know, albums come out on Fridays, and movies in Australia, they come out on Thursdays. I don't know. Do people put out lawsuits on Fridays or something?
No, there probably is a method to that madness. I'm sure that Sunflower Dragon and Frank the Tank will tell you that maybe there's like, hey, you're probably right. I bet you are right. Are we positive? No, Artie loves bragging about money, Frank. He would have told us. And he certainly would have told us after he and Howard were on the outs, which has been since. So we would have known Artie does not hold back bragging about money. Howard shared nothing with him. And he talked about that.
Imagine if you'd been able to talk to him about all of this when you had him on. Remember? Like if you'd been able to get... Can you imagine how after the initial first couple of minutes of Artie trying to just be, this and that, to get him to actually start thinking about it, you could get so much out of him nowadays, like about all of this.
If you listen to him, the various things he's done, maybe it was the direct TV show or his own podcast or being a guest on with Opie and stuff, he made like cracks about how that you don't get residuals, and on the Stern Show, like they're playing all my shit on Howard 101 all weekend. I drive around and I hear myself, and I said, "There's only one guy getting all the money," and so he's absolutely bitter about it, and he should be. Artie's just because Pellel says he's just living the dream. Yeah, he's just happy to be there at this point, maybe still, and he's not realizing it. But in the next year or two, he starts to wise up, and he realizes that. He knows when he goes to his shows, the fans that show up and they listen to the applause that he got versus Howard during their last day. It wasn't even close. Because they relate to him. And Artie is good with fans, and he goes out there and he meets them. You know how Opie, say what you will about Opie and Anthony, they would actually go out and like hang out with their fans and shit. Could you imagine Howard doing that? Artie hangs out with his fans. That's a huge grassroots connection that people like. That he's accessible.
Like he'd go to the baseball and he'd be just walking around and everyone was buying him drinks and food. That's awesome. I loved those stories. I was like, oh, what a guy. But Howard's just too scared. I guess, do you think he never would go to those things because he's scared that someone's going to try and hurt him physically?
Yes.
Because of everything he's done in the past.
Yeah, but I think it's more of an elitist thing.
True. You can't find me, you can't see me,
plebeians, we are civilians, we are pedestrians, we don't deserve, he's a narcissist, and we don't deserve to breathe the same air as him. So he can't be around non-celebrities is really what it is, but you're also right. It's those two things combined. He's put himself in this rarefied air that's, and he's been doing it for decades. It's not like this is new. He's been doing it since like WNBC. He thinks he hasn't done. He's the most unrelatable son of a bitch on that. He makes Michael Jackson look like Scott DePace. I don't know why I said Scott DePace.
Wow. All right, we'll continue. Yep. Okay.
They are getting crushed. Ill-prepared. Les Moonves and Joel Hollander, the two stooges, are running this radio division right into the ground to record losses. You know, I just read in the paper that Les Moonves, I read this. I don't know why it was so covered up. $9 billion in losses under the tutelage of Les Moonves. Now a radio division, record losses in ratings, I would suspect in revenues.
This is what he...
Not to mention the stations...
I don't know if you listened, Bond, to the early days of Sirius through 06. All he did was bash terrestrial. This is the first 2 months. He would get on for an hour straight and revel in their lack of ratings. Remember 0.0 from Animal House? They played, that was for them. And all he did was bask in them, their lack of success and how bad David Lee Roth is. So why? Of course they're going to come after him. And he's doing it now. Rick the electrician's so right. He goes, the worst mistake ever was them turning the tapes over to Howard, because what that did is that allowed him to take the time. So he became the Vacation-lution, because he could take those tapes and now play them on the channels, and he doesn't have to program it with live programming. He doesn't have to hire other radio hosts. He keeps the money, right? He doesn't have to. He would have to do live radio if he didn't have those tapes. How would you program the stations if you didn't have the other tapes? How would you do it?
You'd have to wait a couple of years until you had enough backlog.
Right.
Maybe
exactly
6 months
right.
even, I guess. You could just start playing 6 months ago.
That's really
possible. He could have done that, maybe.
Yes. But what's also bothering him is that he can't. He envisions this. He doesn't have access to his tapes yet, and they go into the tapes in the next audio that what really is also bothering him is he thinks he's not going to be able to pull the Friday off thing, that he's going to actually have to pay other hosts or do other shit himself, because his plan was to sail off into the Hamptons on Thursday. And if he can't play those tapes, he has to program these channels with other hosts or himself, God forbid. That's what's bothering him, in addition to what you said, which is brilliant.
Cool.
I left. But the Jack FM format is failing. We saw the New York ratings, the Arbitrends come out. I haven't seen them directly. I only read from the newspaper. And you've got a situation where these two guys don't have their eye on what's important.
So he knows their ratings. He knows every little statistical thing about but he doesn't know his own listenership when it's not convenient, right? So when someone asks, how many listeners you got, Howard?
Oh God, yeah.
5 million. He knows them, but he doesn't bullshit. He knows exactly who's listening to him. But when someone asks him how many listeners he'll say 10 million, because Sirius doesn't release these numbers because they don't want to let you know how few people are listening to him during that time, because it's embarrassing.
I haven't seen them directly. I only read from the newspaper.
Thank you, Scott.
And you've got a situation where these two guys don't have their eye on what's important. So if you saw the movie Wag the Dog, what do you do if you're Les Moonves?
Did he really watch that? I don't believe for a second he watched that. That's too highbrow for him.
Oh, he would have been 10 minutes in going, this is just too much talking. There's too much talking. That's
where's Freddie Prinze Jr.?
The whole movie is talking. It's a fantastic movie.
So what that is, his lawyer watched Wag the Dog, because all lawyers want to be politicians, and told him to say that. There's no way he watched Wag the Dog.
Yeah.
Distract the media. Let's have a lawsuit against Howard Stern.
That's his reason there.
Yes.
That's why they're doing it, to distract from their incompetence. That's what he's trying to use as the whole reason. So they can't do their job properly, and they've got that their ratings are so bad, their content's so bad that they drum up this idea to sue me. So if it all went the way they were planning in Howard's mind, how long would that take? They know that this whole lawsuit could be wrapped up in a year if it went to trial. They still got they can't run the company. They're not. Those guys think a little more ahead than 6 months from now or a year from now. That's what I think. Those guys would have said, well, it's not going to save us in the long run. It's not going to distract from how crap-ash what we're doing is. So I don't like his reasoning there. Howard's trying to reason. The lawsuits don't go on for 5 years, you're in court once a week for 5 years. So how could they use that to kill time, to not make them look so bad? It doesn't work as a distraction to me.
And Howard thinks he's the one playing chess. See, I think that's also that he gets beat at his own game because they're 9 moves ahead of him, right? He thinks if he were 9 moves ahead of them, he would have had this plan, the Sirius exit strategy, and that backs up their argument that he knew what he was doing and he had this plan while he was on promoting it on the air. That helps their argument out. If he's such a great chess player. Look at Sarah's thing. She called me gay. Is it the gay flag she's got here? Or what is that? That Roy G. It looks like a fruit stripe gum. Roy G.
Yeah.
Biv. Trump is scared. Everyone's saying
Was that Italy flag? I wonder if it was
I think it's a gay flag.
Oh, a rainbow. It must be. She's on it today. I reckon she's had quite a few coffees.
Oh
today.
God,
she's pretty hyped up.
Yeah, she's doing. I know. Sarah in the chat, hyped up is the best. Chief Phony Feathers has a great point. Do you remember when Artie was doing Beer League? Artie got hip to his game when Howard threw constant anchors during. So Howard, you remember Howard would shit on Beer League and Artie during the filming of it, right? He kind of wanted it to fail. It's the same Schadenfreude thing. He was terrified that Beer League would be this hit that would be better than Private Parts. And it was obviously it didn't do well. And it was a cute attempt at trying to be like an old school, like Animal House comedy. But Howard's biggest fear was that Beer League was going to do well. He was terrified of that. And he would shit on it all the time. Phony Feathers, great fucking comment. You're
and
right.
he had to give Artie time off for it, and he didn't want to, and that pissed him right up the wall.
Which was the deal he made. Artie said, I don't really trust this. If I get an offer, I'm gonna take it. And I think Artie would have been just fine if he never did the Stern Show. I think he would have latched on to some other. He's very affable guy to be around. I think he would have played the fat sidekick a zillion times. He would have gotten little gigs here and there. He would have been fine. He didn't need the show. I'm positive of it. He would have adapted to some other thing, and he would have gotten off in another way. He probably would have been happier, if anything. And I think he hated those hours more than anything. He's a night guy. Nocturnal people hate those hours. Our kryptonite is those hours. Stern breathlessly talking about the old white CBS executives for no one gives a shit. Yeah, I mean the fans. This is cut to today. It's more interesting than it was at the time almost. He didn't talk about.
Oh yeah, when you put it that way, like back then, you guys.
Because we know who he is now. We know what he is now. Back
then, you guys must have been like, "What is this crap?" He's whinging about this. What does this mean to us?
What he's all about.
He's making this whole thing, and he keeps saying it's personal. He says it so many times through this. These guys, it's a personal attack. So how is that making him look good? Going ahead with all of this whinging, it's just a whinging.
Shouldn't it be personal if you're eviscerating the radio division every day? And they're trying to launch it. Why do you care? Why are you following their ratings and how bad they're? Why you're over here? You're leaving it all behind you. Why are you obsessed with your old job? Who still looks at their old job? Like why he still talks about it's like me talking about my fucking paper route. Why he's talking about Hartford and who cares? Why do you know anyone who still talks about their old job from 35 years ago? You just get away from me. Shut up.
It's unforgivable, like that he thinks that he can talk about that for 15 minutes at the top of his show as well.
And repeats it all the time.
Like I'll go talk about your parents. That's better than talking about the glory days in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
Sunflower's right. He went after
so
any and
embarrassing.
He was a petty ass bitch. Go ahead, Bon.
Oh yeah, I can't
play it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
They've been threatening me for months. And I said, I'm going to stand up to this guy, Les Moonves. Because here's a guy who doesn't stand up to anyone. He didn't stand up to the FCC, and now we see what's happened as a result. This guy didn't stand up to Clear Channel Broadcasting and other media outlets that wouldn't pay me money they owed me. He backed out of lawsuits. Les Moonves fired 2 producers, the CBS Evening News and Dan Rather, because they're easy targets. Those are easy guys to get. Les Moonves didn't stand up at a Ronald Reagan movie that he produced for his network. and was afraid of the religious right, and he wouldn't even fight back and air his Ronald Reagan movie. But I'll tell you who Les Moonves
He has that
and
written
who he
down.
goes after.
Ronald Reagan.
Talent.
He's rehearsing that. He's trying to hit the punchline. He can't tell a joke. He can't hit that. He thought he was going to get huge laughs with that Ronald Reagan line. He's painting himself as the victim, and you're not fighting. Your lawyers are fighting. Your money's fighting. Buchwald's fighting. You're not doing anything. You're doing this. You cried. You fucking burst into tears, and that's your fighting. You're not doing any fighting. You're just a little spoiled baby who's afraid all the things we brought up, that he's going to actually have to program his own channels and do live radio. That's what he's afraid of. And like you said, what's the legal term about exposing his assets again?
Oh, a disclosure or whatever.
Yes.
He's got a full disclosure.
Discovery.
Oh, discovery. Yeah.
That's what he's really afraid of.
That's why, because he didn't want to become the mayor. Remember, he tried to be, because he had to give out his tax information.
All that,
Remember?
Yes, no, it was here, but there's two components to that. All he had to do is check a box that said, "I make over $125,000."
Yeah,
right? But the
he
lie
couldn't
was
even do that.
It was a felony because he lied about his address. So in politics, he said that he lived in Mineola. So he didn't want people, right? It's all about, he always is hiding something. So he lied about his address, and that's a felony in politics. And all he had to do was check a box that said, "I make over $125,000." The governor shit. It's always money with him.
I also remember him talking about Trump when Trump became president, saying, "I didn't know you could just not disclose that information." I remember he was saying that.
Yes.
And I think he was saying about when he was going to try to be the mayor. I think that was the excuse now, that he didn't want his private information. That was the excuse. What you're saying about it was a felony.
Yeah.
He changed it for everyone listening to that he didn't want his personal tax information out of there. That was the excuse. But then that's why he was saying when Trump just said, yeah.
Which you'd believe, and it's easily believable, but the real reason was he lied about his address, which apparently is a felony in politics.
And that makes me remember when Trump got in, he kept that lie going with the taxes going, well, if I didn't know that back when I was running.
Now think about if he had to expose his finances, if that was laid bare with the discovery, right? You would find out what he made from the book. You would find out what he made from. I'm obsessed with the other stuff, not the.
Yeah.
You would find out what he makes off Howard TV and what. So all his employees would see what he got, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm getting $28,000 a year, and you're getting what? $22 million from Howard TV," and all those Howard TV guys would know what he made. How it's literally, like the have and the have-nots. He's what Bernie Sanders was talking about. He gets 90, with Jackie, the marble thing, right? If there's 25 marbles, Howard has to have 24 of them. And that would be laid bare in every single way, especially with Howard TV. All his bonuses would be out there. The Allison alimony would be out there. You'd have to tell what he gives to. All that shit would be laid bare.
You've nailed it perfectly in the title of this show, Marble Partners. It's just classic Stern.
Ronald Reagan movie. But I'll tell you who Les Moonves sues and who he goes after. Talent. Because he thinks we're easy targets. And I'm going to stand up to this guy. I'm not going to allow it.
You're
I'm not going to be
a warrior. You're not a warrior. You're not standing up. This is not for anybody but you. There's nobody. You wouldn't want anybody. You're not paving the way. You'll destroy anything that's in your path that follows you. You're not a warrior. You're not interested in anything but yourself. This isn't altruistic. This is not respectable. This is nothing but you not wanting to work more and worried about your finances being laid bare. There's nothing noble about this.
Yeah, and it's like the worst week of his life. This has happened, and he's cobbled this idea up with Buchwald to go in fighting. And the reporters at the end ask him, basically, why are you doing this at this point? they're saying, why would you do this right now and not wait for more information? Anyway, I don't want to spoil it.
He's also trying to get in front of it, right? Like, what's stopping Moonves and Hollander from doing a press conference to counter this, to smear him?
Exactly.
He wants to get in front of it.
It's so embarrassing.
And I'm not going to be bullied. Let me tell you what's in this lawsuit that they're going to file.
Yeah.
CBS is saying they are suing me because they claim that I entered into a secret agreement with Sirius Satellite Broadcasting. They also say that I entered in for secret compensation. They say that I misused CBS airtime to promote Sirius Satellite Radio. They claim that I misled them into thinking that I was staying at CBS. I was going to stay there. And also that I hurt CBS financially. I'm not a lawyer, but let me address this stuff. Because you know what? I got to stand up for myself. All right, first they say there was a secret agreement. Well, let's talk about the secret agreement. 14 months before I was to leave Viacom, CBS, whatever they call themselves this day, I announced I was going to satellite radio. I spoke about it on the radio.
Summer Redstone is a Puna.
Every newspaper outlet, every media outlet covered the fact that I was going to Sirius Satellite Radio. It was published in every newspaper. There was public disclosure of the entire deal, my salary, everything. And on top of that, I've been talking about the fact that I'm going to go on satellite radio for the last couple of years. For 5 years I've been talking about it.
Yeah, 5 years.
There wasn't public disclosure. It was a general deal they signed. The real stuff he's worried about, the other finance, yeah, everybody knew. It's very now again, he just goes, this is what I'm saying. He goes, he won't say the number, right? All we're doing is talking about money here. He won't even say the number that is the household number that everybody knows, right? 500 million over 5 years. He won't even say that. He's so terrified of people getting this fun that everyone knows it. So if it's common knowledge, then say what the number is. He won't even say 500 million over 5 years. It's right there. He won't even do that. That's not the concern. The concern is the other stuff. What he pays Allison for alimony. All the kids and all the stuff, the divorce stuff. That's what and the tax stuff, like you said. And they'd have to lay it out for the last decade, what he got at terrestrial, and he's terrified of that.
It's weird. It's weird how he got to that place where he was so scared of everything. It's weird.
He's always been. I mean, the money
when
stuff
that happened.
As far back as I can remember, he's always been. I mean, how does he talk about his book? Think about how big his books were, right? You don't. How come I'm the only one asking Stern adjacent people, what did Howard get for Private Parts and Miss America? Why do we not know? Right? You always hear these super rich authors like Stephen King and stuff. Didn't Private Parts do as well as a Stephen King book? Or like Anne Rice,
for sure, probably, yeah.
So why don't no one knows what he made off the books? It doesn't come up, and trust me, it was a ton. All the pay-per-view shit, he was hired $50 a pop. He gets all that money.
So the first, I just looked it up. It says in early '93, Stern signed a deal with Simon & Schuster worth around $1 million to write his first book.
There's no way he got that.
Private
and
Parts.
I'm sure per copy, you know how many books and then the paperback after that? That might have been like a signing, initial.
Oh yeah.
Money.
He gets.
He got way more.
I think it'd. I mean, if Hillary Clinton got $20 million for her book a few years ago, I can imagine with his fame in 1993, $10 million.
And that's when people were reading
easy.
books, man. People were reading books.
Yeah,
way
fuck
more
yeah.
Back then.
Everybody would have got that book. That book's like, it's like Pearl Jam put out 10. Everybody bought that album. So I'd say 5 to 10 million the way Howard is. And then, you get you might get who knows, $1 every book that sells or $2.
I wonder if Judith Regan would divulge that. I don't know if they're friends anymore. I wonder if Judith Regan would squawk about that. I'd love to know. Exactly.
I want to get her on the show if
Oh,
that's what you're
God.
thinking. Imagine if we could get her on the show. Oh, we'd
Can
have to pay her $1 million, though.
You guys brought up a really good name before, Ricky Gervais. You know, he was one of those guys that Howard, with his horrible taste in guests and comedy, turned down like a dozen times in the early days of Sirius. There's no better guest than that guy. You talk about he doesn't give a shit. He's one of the most uncancelable people and probably the best award show host ever in existence. He
Easily.
just eviscerates everybody. Remember the Depp thing he did with the tourist and Angelina Jolie?
Oh, that's just
yeah.
yes. Oh,
That was
man, there's
crazy.
no one. I mean, who could you, like, Billy Crystal? Oh, garbage.
They can't handle Gervais. Hollywood's egos are way too
Well, he was like modern. He took comedy and made it modern.
Yep.
You could just go crazy with it and just blow people's minds away, being so crazy. And it's just epic satire. You can't. If you took him seriously, you'd think that this guy's a racist, homophobic, horrible person. But it's a character. It's David Brent. It was like, you know that everything he does and says is bad because you're a human being. We know as humans, it's just amazing. So you could laugh at it.
And there's very few people like this. You know, Charles Barkley's like this in the sports media. He has a pass and he's earned it where he comes on these award shows. He's like, fuck you. I'm saying whatever I want. I dare you to cancel me. Here's what you get. I'm not going to try to kiss your ass. He tells them up front. Like he's gotten that he's got that uncancelable thing, which is very few people have in show business. There's like 4 or 5 people that have it. Howard had that for a while. He really does have it. I mean, that's the partnership, but he doesn't do anything with it now. Now he's neutered himself. Like you couldn't, as Artie talks about this all the time, Howard could have been the biggest counterculture FU to the celebrity culture in the biggest way possible, but he wanted to be part of that high school jock lunch table so bad. That was his goal all along, and we just didn't know it. And he just squandered, like I say all the time, like his bad years now are coming dangerously close to his good years. He is destroying his legacy more and more every day. Anyone that is in this bullshit, like he's coming back on Tuesday, who gives a shit? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's nothing to be excited about. There's nothing to talk about.
Oh, no.
This is what you talk about.
Getting back to Ricky, when I watch every interview with Ricky, I love him so much. When he hosted those shows, they didn't have any control. They didn't see anything he was writing. He wrote it all. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
To someone he wrote it, and he said that it was part of the deal. He didn't have to submit it. They had no idea what he was going to say. And when you compare that to a prick like Kimmel, can you imagine? Kimmel didn't write any of that, and it's still garbage when he hosts crap.
His wife writes the model. His wife, Molly McInerney, Kimmel writes the fucking Oscar monologue with him. That's what they're doing. Yeah,
he's got to be one of the worst hosts of all time.
Well, it's an in-house hire too. He works for ABC.
He's just stupid. I won't even watch his speeches. I can't stand his show. I can't. And you take someone like Ricky, that's insane. Like quality that you get with Ricky on those. He's written it all himself. Doesn't have to show anyone. Probably gets paid millions, a few million. And he goes out there with a beer in his hand. He's just drinking a beer and he just shits all over everything. And he's half cut by the end of the show. He's half pissed.
I'm not going to pretend I'm like this erudite that I watched the British Office. I watched the American one. I know the British one is brilliant. It started it all. But my point is, and I'm sure, and I probably do need to watch. I love Ricky Gervais. Probably not as much as you, but I do love him.
All I'm saying is we got to do Office Watch Along on Patreon. We have to do that now. If you haven't watched it, the first season of the US Office was all of the first season of Ricky's, just rewritten. All like some of the most of the dialogues all the same.
How much money did he make off The Office? Because he owns the rights, right? Because he owns. So the American version's all him, right? He gets the lion's share of the money of the American Office.
He'd get the syndication. He'd get so much, and they must have paid him insane. When that DVD came out of the first season, that was the biggest selling DVD ever in Australia. That's how big it was. Like
I don't
here,
know.
that's
My nephew,
insane.
I have a nephew who's in his early 20s, and I'm reading his yearbook when I'm at his graduation, and it said the favorite television show was The Office, and it was way after the yearbook is way after that show finished, so it had this like resurgence again or something
Yeah,
where kids discovered it.
It came out, and I don't know about America. I know in Australia we didn't start seeing it until 6 months until one of our networks bought it. So a friend came to a party back then, like 2001 or whatever, and he said, "Oh, my friend just sent this videotape over from England, this new show, The Office, and you had like 5 episodes, and we put it on." So then, yeah, it snowballed like word of mouth and became just monstrous success.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen a show explode on the youth, and you kind of going like, why would kids even care about the the wacky goings on in an office? Like it doesn't even, but somehow they all flock to it. It's crazy.
I remember when it came out, I was like, when they were going to put it on, it's like, oh, it's just this terrible boss in Office, and I'm watching the first couple of minutes, and I'm going, oh, this really looks like a really crap like English show, like the cop shows, the English cop shows, and I was like, wow, this is low budget. But then a few minutes later, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm watching. It was just, and we were crying. I couldn't stop. It was just, I'd never seen anything like it in my life. And he's fucking, he won an Emmy, I think, before most of the people in America knew who he was. So, and he won a Golden Globe as well before the hype had gotten fully to 100%. So people didn't even know who he was when he won these awards. It's crazy. It's never going to happen again. It's never going to happen again like that. A guy with that kind of humor.
Very thoughtful guy. Didn't he make a movie about autism? Like right after, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something, like a really thoughtful movie about autism.
Yeah, he did. I haven't enjoyed much of his post Office stuff. He did a show called Extras after it, which did you ever see any of that? He played a guy who works in a movie as a movie extra. So that's his job. So he's in the background and he's a depressed guy, but it had all these celebrities in it, like crazy famous people in there. But that was okay, but still not as good as The Office. But I didn't really keep up. I watched some movie, a few years, like 5 or 6 years ago, that was like really depressing. So he was trying to act,
Sky Spectre, Chief Phony Feathers, Mr. Villataro, and G. Canada, all very spot, and Tamara Francois about Chappelle. Chappelle gives back. Chief Phony Feathers says he knows Dave is mad. He's never recognized his talent. No, he doesn't. Chappelle doesn't need Stern. G. Canada says every kid in North America knows who Dave Chappelle is right now. Every one of them, 99%, wouldn't know who Howard is if they walked into Castle Gaitskell by accident. You're absolutely right. And that pisses them off. The youth have no need for him, nor should they. Why should anybody black, speaking of Tamara Francois, why should any youth care about the show? Why would any kid find this current Stern show? Who is this for? Right? What all the options kids have, and I just mean young people. Why would you listen to this show? Why would you know who he is? There's nothing there for you. Right? There's so many options people have now. Why would you listen to this show? I still remember going there at Best Buy in Circuit City, right? Right, it was huge. Ed Rooney says, I got new glasses from you people, and I can't see, goddammit. Dave Chappelle went on the Stern Show now. They wouldn't talk about any of the trannies. They are both kind of obsessed. Oh, is he really? Chappelle's obsessed with trannies? Oh, that was the comments he made. Okay, right. He made, that's right. Still have all the seasons of his show. Okay, I'm sorry, Bon. Go ahead.
No, Jose asked if the British version of The Office is better than the American one, and yeah, but the American one used Ricky's scripts for I think the first and the second seasons, but then the American one got really good. They just they took the ball and rolled with it, and it became pretty damn good. Like if The Office didn't exist, I'd say the US one was a really good
What is
comedy.
Gervais's opinion on the American Office? Does it do it justice, or does he think it's watered down?
No, he's a producer on it. So
okay, he has creative input on it?
Yeah. He went over there often. He'd go to America when they're filming it, and he was like friends with Steve. So
That's
he knew,
good. That's good. It's strong. It's a really funny show. It's great.
But he'd always make great jokes. Like if someone asked him that question, he'd say, well, I mean, that's like trying to compare, and he'd compare like a copy of something, a copy of a car to the original. He'd say it's kind of like trying to compare this to that, and he'd make it funny. But he obviously liked it. He's the kind of guy who would never have let them do it if they weren't going to do it right. He would have hung out with them for months probably before it, making sure that their writers get it, and they're not, because that was the thing when it came out. They said, I remember they said they're doing an American version. I remember hearing that they're doing an American version. I went, why would anyone want to remake this? And they said that's because all of the references in the English Office are all local towns. Like he says, you know how you say Pittsburgh and everyone will laugh in a joke?
Yes.
He says a different name. He calls it Staines as a town. And there's Slough, and that's a shitty town. And they said Americans don't like that apparently, that they won't get it, but I didn't get it. Like when I'm watching the English one, I didn't know the areas, but I knew straight away the way he was saying it, he meant that it was a shit town area. But anyway, so they needed to do that version to change all the language so that Americans could relate to the areas and everything. But I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they were doing it. So he would have really known like that they were going to do a really good job. And they did do a great job. And they had all these extra characters in it that weren't in the original Office he made, and they're hilarious. Like there's so many little people who work in the Office. They have all these side stories that were so funny. They're really great fucking actors.
Yeah, it's well, that's the most noble thing about shows like that is they do this single cam comedy where they're not telling you when to laugh. They're letting you decide. That's how you respect your audience. You don't have a laugh track
no
or
laugh
studio
track.
audience.
Oh God!
And they do the thing where you just decide to laugh in the awkward moments. Curb Your Enthusiasm does it. I think the sitcom is dead. That laugh track fucking sitcom is dead. It's so cool. I don't know how anybody. Leave it to CBS to still do those pieces of shit, right? Leave it to CBS to still. You talk about the localized reference. That was an Artie thing. You remember Artie would go to when he would tour. He would go to a place like Denver. And he would go, hey, great to be here at the Comedy Works. Denver is a really special place for me because my first girlfriend looked like Dikembe Mutombo. So Dikembe Mutombo is like a 7'2" black center who played for the Nuggets, and you would only get that if you were in Denver. So he would tweak that anywhere he went. In Pittsburgh,
that's great. That's
right.
great. I didn't even know who that was or what that was.
I made that
word.
up. He didn't say it.
I know. But even hearing Artie say a town, being from Australia, I'd laugh. If it was a funny sounding word, I'd just be like, whatever he's saying, whatever he's looking down upon it. I love it.
You're right.
Should I press play?
Chappelle's eclipsed Howard in every way except net worth. You're right. Go ahead, Bon. Let's back to the press conference.
But Les Moonves claims it was a secret. Now, how can you have it both ways? How can there be a secret agreement if everybody in the world, including his own radio stations, are broadcasting the deal?
He's the
one. He put me on David Letterman. He put me on 60 Minutes. And Les Moonves says he didn't know there was an agreement. It was a secret. How can that be? It must.
How can that be? He's doing almost Jerry Seinfeld. He's really huckstering it up. He's really really hyping himself up.
That's
he's really
just
upset.
like everyone else.
But he's
Les
the one
Moonves isn't listening to his own CBS radio station.
Yeah.
Or his own CBS television station.
Thank you, Sunflower
Les
Dragon.
Moonves is telling us it was a secret. Was there anyone in this room didn't know I was going to satellite and what the deal was? You read about it every day in the paper.
See, if this was a trial, that the other lawyer would have interjected now and say, hearsay. This is all hearsay. This whole press conference is him giving his opinion with no evidence needed. He's just bullshitting for 20 minutes.
And might I add, his biggest nightmare in addition is having a televised trial where it's and not only that, so his finances and all his personal business would be laid bare in a televised trial. That's why anytime you stuff legal stuff with him in lawsuits, he makes it magically go away. So he's thrown money at a bunch of stuff, intern lawsuits, and he's been sued. You just don't know about it. He magically makes them go away. His biggest nightmare would be to have a televised trial where all this stuff was laid bare. And talk about having it both ways, right? He wants to promote Sirius while he's at terrestrial, and now he wants them to not even have any radio at all. And he's going to make sure, and he's going to bash them on his. That's the guy who wants it both ways, not them. Who has it more than Howard does? Who has it both ways? He's the paragon of wanting it both ways.
All right, we're about to do something we've never done on this show before, which is I've got to go out and do my thing with the dog. Now I'm coming with you this time, and now because you can't control it, I know you can just tell me to pause it, and I'm listening. I'm not going to talk because it's going to be all outside sounds, but I'm listening. So you just say play it, Bon, and I'll press play. So I'm going to be taking this mobile. You hear my voice? I'm so excited to try this.
Look at Sarah bashing me here, Bon. Before you look at Sarah bashing me. Arm couldn't make it through season 1, which is true of Game of Thrones. By the way, Amanda Pete's husband is executive producer of that. So I'm going to make it through for Amanda Pete. But she's right. I did. And Sunflower Dragon said it is too dark, and I would light the shit out of that, as a matter of fact. Go ahead, Bon. It's hilarious how men who never been to all watch Fight Club. She's right. G. Canada's right. Guys who've never been in a fight are obsessed with Fight Club. There's no way Pitt and Depp are doppelgangers. They are doppelgangers. They, in the 90s, Rick, they were cast as constantly up for the same roles. Constantly. Anything Brad Pitt got probably went to Depp first in the 90s. Like 90% of the shit Brad Pitt got. What's a sandwich relation to Arm's fried chicken cutlet hoagie? Melvin's still talking about that. Sunflower. Hey, Bon, I don't know if you're playing it, but I can't hear anything. I can hear myself echo.
No, I'm not.
I agree with Winterfeld.
Speaking of doppelgangers.
Pitt was in fear. That's the tank.
There's two of me. Now, can I...
Depp was a script snob, Pell-El. Not anymore. Now it's cash grab, and he wants to work with Paul Bettany every time. And he's gotten so lazy, and he needs. I'm going to be picking the scripts from here on in. He was a script snob. Now he doesn't know what he's doing. He's senile when it comes to reading a script. He doesn't know. He's lost touch with the entire industry. He was a script snob. Now I wish he was a script snob. That's how Kurt covers his nose. Good evening, Judy Wright. Late start. Can't stand Howard Stern, I heard. Good for you. And his sicko sidekick, Robin, spelt wrong. I love it. I love that you spelt Robin wrong. And that proves you don't give a shit about him. Thank you, Judy Wright. JW. First offense is to demean. Yes. Only veggies on that. Avocado, mustard, says Melvin. I am not playing this, Bond. I'm still not. Just running his mouth when he needs to shut the F up. My only is Howard's defense.
Then they say there was secret compensation. There was no secret compensation. Public disclosure. You all wrote what my salary was. Anyone who's in the broadcasting business knows that satellite radio is a subscription-based service.
Still won't say the numbers.
The New York Times themselves, one of my favorite media outlets,
I knew you would quote the New York
wrote about my secret compensation. They disclosed the whole deal. Where's the secret, Les? How is this a secret from him? Then they say I misused CBS airtime. I got something to say about this. They say I misused CBS airtime to promote Sirius satellite radio. Okay. Let's go into that. When I signed my deal,
he thinks he's going to have
radio,
them eating out of his hand.
He
thinks he's going to have these guys eat. He claims in the next clip that I think he said there's 80 different people from the media in his. by the way, I should say this is his lawyer's office. So you can kind of tell now that I know the backstory, that they have a big boardroom, I guess, in most law firms where they have big meetings. And so this is where they're having it. And I think he said 80 press people are there during it. He thinks he's going to have the meeting out of his hands. He thinks he's so full of himself. He is such an inflated that he thinks that no lawyer could possibly spin this like he could spin it. And he is going to, I don't think he takes a single question from them, by the way. That they certainly don't. And he thinks that, oh, I'm going to make a couple of lame references. I'm going to say, oh, listen, what are you, 12 years old? What are you, 10 years old? It's your birthday. And he thinks that's going to be enough. And he's going to play the victim. And he's the, professional martyr. And he's on a roll in his mind. And I don't know. I would love to know what the powwow he had with his legal team after this. Because they're not going to tell him anything he doesn't want to hear. They kiss his ass like everybody else does. And Buchwald is, I think, to the right of him. Go ahead, Bon. I'm sorry.
To Joel Hollander, the president of the radio division.
Yep, Frank
and
the
I
Tank
said,
says,
Joel, I've signed a deal to go to satellite. How you want to handle it? Says, I don't want you to talk about satellite radio. I said, okay. I have a point of view on this. Can I talk about it? I've always talked on the air about anything and everything that I do. When I put out a movie, when I put out a...
Chief Phony Feathers asked, did he get suspended around this time for a day? That was at terrestrial. So that proves their point even more. They suspended him at K-Rock on FM for promoting it. He got suspended. So they did lower the boom, and that was probably used. That's a great call by you, Chief, but that was not here. That was a terrestrial, and that was in early December, late November, early December of 2005. But you're right. Frank the Tank says, as soon as the lawsuit is filed with all the courts, generally lawyers shut it all down in terms of communication. The worst thing that you want to do is jeopardize your case by sticking your foot in your mouth. Sunflower Dragon says, it's not a criminal case. The attorney should review and approve a statement and prepared by a team. So they approved this shit. And then Tamara Francois says, how in the world did the lawyers let this idiot do a press conference when do you have an active court hearing? It's so stupid. Because he thinks he's paying them, Tamara. And don't you want this to go on anyway? Don't you want to have Howard on the hook, the retainer thing? You want this to kind of meander? They don't want to shut it down. I think they want to keep him suing. And he brought up something in the next clip about how much an appeal costs. But of course, he doesn't say the number. He just says it's really expensive, and he still doesn't say his salary. They try to drop news stories. Sunflower Dragon says they try to drop large news stories on Fridays. Bon, you were right. The assumption is less people will hear it because they're enjoying the weekends. So it's like the news cycle when you're watching. Like they hate Friday because the weekend. It buries it, and then Monday, like something replaces it. That's a great point by you two. Russ Salzberg, Brendan. That's a weird reference. Go ahead, Bon. I'm sorry. That's right. That's right. G. Cannon, good reference. That was at that concert.
Wrote about my secret compensation. They disclosed the whole deal.
$225 million. He won't say
Where's the secret, Les? How is this a secret from him? Then they say I misused CBS airtime. I got something to say about this. They say I misused CBS airtime to promote Sirius satellite radio.
Look at his forehead, Crazy Robin's right. Look at that.
Let's go into that.
Look at the
When I signed my deal with satellite radio, I went to Joel Hollander, the president of the radio division, and I said, Joel, I've signed a deal to go to satellite. How you want to handle it? Says, I don't want you to talk about satellite radio. I said, okay, I have a point of view on this. Can I talk about it? I've always talked on the air about anything and everything that I do. When I put out a movie, when I put out a book, I talked about it on the air. I said, it's the biggest media story of the year. Why don't I go on the radio and talk about it? Why should every other place get...
Does anyone in this chat believe There's some nobility about what I'm talking about in my life. Does anybody believe for a second this is solely about promoting and lining his pockets? The book, everything else. He knows. Could you imagine having a job where you're getting paid to promote something you're going to get paid for in addition to the job you're promoting it at, that you could double it? Could you possibly imagine you're doing this and I'm going to promote something else where I'm going to get paid while I'm getting paid here for 4 hours? Like, who gets to do that? It would be like if Letterman came out with a book and he spent every minute of every show promoting his book. Do you think they'd go along with that? Only he can do this. Does anyone believe this is about his life? If he really talked about his life, we'd hear the numbers. He doesn't talk about his life. He doesn't talk. This is when he starts to go the other way. But there's nothing about this. It is solely an infomercial because he's terrified he's not going to make that bonus. And it is $225 million is what he's met. And he still hasn't said the number. He says what do you say, performance clause or some shit. He tries to use some nomenclature. Welcome, Josh Foster. The Sweater and the Schmoozer, Steve Summers and Russ Salzberg, one of the worst shows. You talk about, oh man, nothing. If you're a fan of anything not New York, that's the worst show. He's so angry because they're thinking he's going to take 1 penny. Go ahead, Bon. I'm sorry. Play it again.
Benefits of ratings.
Jack FM.
He said to me, I agree with you. You can talk about Sirius Satellite on the air. I want you to do me one favor. Don't mention it by name. Don't call it Sirius. I said, okay, I'm going to call it
You think she's going
to... Joel laughed and said, I think that's funny. I went on the air. And for the next 14 months, pretty much, I talked about Sirius Satellite Radio much in the same way that I've talked about my book deals, my movie deals, anything that's in my life I talk about. Joel, on several occasions, checked in. Hey, I think you're being funny. Now, since I've supposedly hijacked the airwaves, let's go into the next thing. They have so many delay buttons on my radio show. There are 7 delay buttons for the FCC, and there's a master dump button, they call it. It's called DEFCON 4, that if I say anything out of line, they hit the button and we go to music. Les is saying I somehow hijacked his airwaves for 14 months. Imagine this is the CEO of a government-regulated radio station saying I stole the airwaves from him. How could he have a...
I don't know why he paused it, Bon, but...
Okay, I am not able to control it with my phone, so just vamp for a bit. I'll be back as soon as I can. Thanks. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry.
So Crazy Robin says, here's a great question. She goes, I don't think Howard ever intended to keep all that talent he hired. So what she's saying is, when he goes to Sirius, right, you have the lineup. You have Bubba in the afternoon. You have Farrell. Scott Farrell had a 4-hour sports radio show on Howard 101 Monday through Friday, where he just took calls, and it was kind of like impressive. He, by the way, that Rasan Rogers was the producer on that show, and he sometimes fill in for him. And he had the 101 shows with Fitzsimmons and Black and Black and Chuck Zito and Lisa Lampanelli and Nick DiPaolo, and this rotation of weird shows where he would what was the other? Remember that dude from Chicago? What was his name? Oh, I forget his name. Oh God, I forget his name. He was on, I think, Thursday for 2 hours. I think Tim Sabian found this guy. And what Crazy Robin's saying is Howard knew, because he had to take it out of this serious pool of money. Howard knew the day they got the series, eventually he would kill all those shows and keep the money. If he's a chess player, he had thought to do this the whole time. He knew he was going to kill all that. He's not going to develop talent. He doesn't want to succeed. Bubba the Love Sponge said that he made his entire show, Brent and Manson and all those guys made $300,000 with a full afternoon show, an established syndicated host, which he was. $300,000 for the entire cast of, was like a Ned for Bubba's show. That's all he got. I know to this day, I don't know what Pharrell got. I know Pharrell did an interview with Opie on his old podcast, and he was shitting on Sirius and Howard to some degree. about how little he got paid. And I gotta kind of go back and get that because Pharrell let us in. I had not heard any. By the way, Pharrell was also on WNEW in New York, was an all talk format. It was kind of similar to what Free FM became. Opie and Anthony was on in the afternoon. Pharrell did the morning show. He did a sports morning show, and I think Ron and Fez was on after Opie. So this is WNEW 1027 in New York. They actually had an all talk format, which Howard was afraid. That was when Opie and Anthony first started feuding with Howard, and he never brought it up. And one of the plans was Opie and Anthony, they'd offered this a few times, and this would have been phenomenal move. And he couldn't take having anyone share his air. They wanted to put Opie and Anthony on in the afternoons, and Howard would be the morning guy. And he blew it up. He nixed it because he couldn't handle doing anything with them. God forbid, right? They're not competing with them, and so that was how that went. What's good for money? Bonnie, you with us?
See, I've put up that second one on the screen. Just see if you can play that. I've put up another one from my computer.
No, I can't play it.
Fuck.
What happened? That's so weird. What if I come back? What if I go out and come in again?
Do that, yeah.
Let me see if I can do that.
Hi, everybody. It's the... Oh.
Let me say.
They gave me permission to go on the air and talk about it.
I
went on the air.
You got it.
Called it in.
No, I don't.
They told me it was funny.
I put it in, but I put it in, but I can't stop it. You know what I mean? I took it out. Yeah. I could put it in, but I can't play it.
They had.
Oh wait, Bon. I got a new thing. What I can do is from the icons on the bottom, I can play it. I can't play it from the big screen, but I can play it on the bottom. You know what I mean? You know, we have all the icons laid on the bottom. It says me, you, and then what we're playing. I can play it from now. You took it out.
Try and play it.
I want you to do me one favor.
Can you play it? Can you pause it now?
Yeah,
yes,
pause
you just
yours.
Paused it. There you go.
Don't mention it by name. Don't call it Sirius.
Okay, but it's from the bottom. I can't do it from the main screen. It's you know what I mean? It's just smaller for me to. People love hearing this technical stuff. It's great.
But it's working at least.
All right, good. That's better than nothing.
I said, okay, I'm going to call it Joe laughed and said, I think that's funny. I went on the air, and for the next 14 months, pretty much, I talked about Sirius satellite radio.
Moldy VHS tapes. That's a great name, by the way. You stole my name. I was going to call myself that. Doesn't Sirius own the tapes now? What happens when they don't renew them? I'm sure he has it to where he's riding off into the sunset. They covered their own asses with that. He probably has it expired when he goes. Who knows? It's so stupid that, I mean, I have every single show like on my hard drive. Like, that anyone needs them. Do you really want Rasan telling you what to listen to? He's not even a fan of the show. He just was grandfathered in from the Pharrell show. He decides all the good stuff they won't play, right? There's so many people that are on the red flag list. So do you even want them to decide what the last thing you want is for that current show to decide what old tapes are going to be played? That ship sailed.
Much in the same way that I've talked about my book deals, my movie deals, anything that's in my life I talk about. Joel, on several occasions, checked in. Hey, I think you're being funny. Now, since I've supposedly hijacked the airwaves, let's go into the next thing. They have so many delay buttons on my radio show.
Guys, wasn't it fun to watch him dance around the sensors? What he's complaining about not getting played was the trashiest, most lowbrow bullshit, like low IQ, the worst of the worst of the worst of the show. The shit I didn't care about. Like for the low, for the miscreants among us. Like he's what remember he would come back and he said, oh, they cut this. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I remember him complaining to Chiasano and Dead Air Dave, and he would talk about what they cut. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's the last thing I want to hear. Good. I'm glad they cut it. I like them dancing around. There's a skill to that that you have to play around with the FCC. You say a-hole instead of asshole. You say F you instead of fuck you. I didn't care about any of the stuff he complained about. And I hold to that to this day.
There are 7 delay buttons for the FCC.
That's right.
And there's a master dump button, they call it. It's called DEFCON 4, that if I say anything out of line, they hit the...
He thinks that's the funniest thing on a big deal. And listen, he got a couple little media laughs. He said DEFCON 4.
button, and we go to music. Les is saying, I somehow hijacked his airwaves for 14 months. Imagine this is the CEO of a government-regulated radio station saying I stole...
Frank the Tank wants to know what I don't know if you're with us here, Bond, but Frank the Tank wants to know what he has to gain from it. He's trying to get in front of it. He's trying to get to it before Moonves and Holland. He thinks they're going to do a press conference. So he's trying to paint himself as the professional victim, the professional martyr. And he thinks if I get to this first, I will have the audience on my side. I will have the general public thinking I'm Mr. Free Speech, First Amendment martyr. And he knows he's terrified of his personal life getting laid bare with any kind of public findings.
The airwaves from him. How could he have it both ways? They gave me permission to go on the air and talk about it. I went on the air, called it They told me it was funny.
Look at Chief Phony Feathers with the Indian wisdom here. Figures never lie, but liars know how to figure. That's pretty good, Chief Phony Feathers. Like Apache Chief from the Super Friends or Spirit from G.I. Joe.
They had dump buttons that they never hit. And by the way, 13 months, in a month before I'm about to leave, they suspend me for a day. I went to Joel. I said, what did I do wrong? He said, well...
PCPB, you didn't laugh once at Beer League? Are you sure about that? Not once. I don't know if I buy that.
Hello, man. Thanks for black guy. Hook me up with some coke, will you?
You mentioned Sirius and you promoted a show coming up on Sirius. I said, is that wrong? He goes, I don't want you to advance promote things. I said, I won't do it. Do you want me not to mention Sirius anymore? He goes, no, just don't advance promote things.
Sarah's right, everyone. Hit the like button, please, and subscribe. Please, please, please hit the like and subscribe button. I implore you. Sarah, still don't know what it does, but please hit it.
Fine. I went back on the air. I finished my broadcasts for Viacom. They threw a party for me in the streets of New York costing several $100,000. The mighty Les Moonves and Joel Hollander came into my studio.
That's as close as you're going to get to a figure from him. As ambiguous as it was, several $100,000 is as close to a numerical figure as Howard will ever divulge. That's all you're going to get, several $100,000.
And said on the air, I almost hit the dump button on Les. He goes, I subscribe to Sirius Radio. I'm going to be out there listening to you every day. Good luck, Howard. Same guy.
Yeah, you want to do like a bingo about that fucking Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, who's that fruit basket from Will and Grace? Sean Hayes. They have that Smartless podcast. So Howard did an interview from the Hamptons, pre-taped and probably overproduced, and they're going to throw more softballs and Ralph Macchio and Beer League. How much you want to bet, Chubby Pickle, that the $96 a week comes up 5 times? Anyone want to do it? It's going to be the most. You're going to hear nothing new. I defy you to find one hard-hitting question, and you know how it's going to go. Everyone knows exactly. You could write the interview, and these are people who are not super fans. So it's going to be worse than you think.
Was saying I misused his airwaves, went on my air and said he's a subscriber to Sirius Radio. Pretty interesting. Joel Hollander, the president of the radio division, walked in with a big smile on his face, and he said, I subscribe to Sirius Satellite.
Is that true, Ed Rooney? I just got offered a part-time job at a small market in Connecticut radio. My career starts now. Is that you talking about Howard and Hartford or you? If it's you, God damn, congratulations, Ed. I couldn't, come on here and promote it. I'd listen to the shit out of it. That's phenomenal. I hope you do. Good luck. We'll come on here and bash it the whole time, like Howard does to K-Rock. That's phenomenal, Ed. Congratulations. If that is you, or you talking about Howard and Hartford.
Radio too. Good luck, Howard. We'll be listening to you every day. Now they're claiming.
Yeah, Moldy. He goes on. He threatens to destroy his tapes, and the clip after this. And we're probably going to end it soon, but it's too much to because we're getting towards 3 hours. He talks about how he claims that the only copies of his tapes from K-Rock are owned by CBS. You don't think he had Scott the engineer and 500 interns copying his fucking tapes for 2 years straight in case this happened? You got to be kidding me. He's trying to play the victim again when he claims that CBS is the only copies of his tapes. There's not a shot in hell, because he knows he'd get sued if it would be illegal if he claims he owns the intellectual rights to it, or however that works. But he had Scott and interns copying those tapes every goddamn day for the last 2 years.
I misused CBS airtime. Why didn't they hit the dump button? They had complete control over content. They gave me permission, but now they want to turn around and sue me. A couple of days ago, I went to visit Les and Joel, the Mighty Two Stooges. I went to visit, went with my agent. I said, why are you guys suing me? Wouldn't we be better served if you guys concentrated on your radio division and I went and concentrated on satellite? We had a good 20 years together. I showed up every day for work for you guys. I could have, in the last 14 months.
For everyone, the little biographical data on Brendan, he was a busboy for 2 weeks at JD Greenery in Sayville, Long Island with Jim Bartlett, and he couldn't get coverage. And we answered the phone, Hinson residence, after Roy Hinson, when Jim Bartlett tried to get Brendan to cover him because we're sleeping over Jim Verdone's house to make prank calls all night. And Brendan had to be part of it. And Bartlett would not get coverage, and we answered the phone, Hinson residence.
I could have not shown up. I could have been sick. I delivered the ratings. I delivered the money to you guys. Why are you picking on me? Why didn't you stop me if you didn't like what I was doing? And Les goes, well, I'm the one who kept you on the air, and I knew I could sue you afterwards. I said, Les, wait a second. Are you admitting to fraud here? You misled me. You told me I could talk about Sirius Radio, and then you knew in the back of your mind you were going to sue me? He said this. This guy's a CEO of a company. Let me tell you something.
Fraudsters know fraudsters, right? There's nothing more fraudulent than how he goes about doing everything. I'm not even sure how that's fraud. They're supposed to reprimand you. You're supposed to let him go. Let him go. We'll sue him. I'm tired of telling him to shut up. Just let him go. That's what I would do. How is it fraud? In Howard's world, everything's fraud that he doesn't do. And when anyone else's behavior behind the scenes is fraud, except if he does it. Oh wow, they're giving me permission again. Wow. I could do it from the big screen.
This guy is he's the
Chief Phony Feathers is great. This rehearsal went on so much better in front. He fucking did this in front of Ralph in those underwear parties on Monday night. This entire thing. It is so overproduced. The jokes suck. He's making Three Stooges references in 2006. Didn't get a laugh. It's horrible.
One, perpetrating the hoax. A very good guy at picking television shows that you will like to watch.
Everybody, and we all agree, Chief Phony Feathers, G Canada, Tamara Francois, there's nothing worse than someone talking about their job from 30 years ago. It's the worst. And he somehow gets away, and he gets paid to do it. He's talking about does anyone believe he washed a dish has never done a work days? And he's got those like he's got the fucking driving gloves hands, right? Rich guy hands. He wears driving gloves. The guy's never washed a goddamn dish. I don't care if it was 14 or 44. He hasn't, forget it. And he's anorexic as well.
Not run CBS Radio. He doesn't know a thing about radio. He's what we call in the business a star effer. You know what that means? It means that David Lee Roth on paper.
Can you believe this guy vacationing with Jennifer Aniston is worried about star effers? He has a gag order on him from Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux that he's not allowed to talk about their and God knows what others. Actually, he called Seinfeld. You guys remember that? Back to Seinfeld's 60th birthday party. He called Jessica Seinfeld and asked her permission if he could talk about them. That's a star fucker.
Sounds good. Adam Carolla has a name. He chose these people because he thinks you're going to listen just because they have a name. He's going to run that radio division into the ground, mark my words. And he won't take any responsibility. Joel Hollander will be fired. But believe me, Les is in on the whole deal. Now, isn't it funny? I'm the same guy who misused CBS airtime, and they put me on 60 Minutes, David Letterman.
Yeah, this is a good point, and I'm sure that Howard makes. Like, so why would on CBS's television are you letting him come on Letterman? I could say this. Here's the way I would explain this. Letterman, much like Howard with 112 Productions, owns his show. So people would ask, and I used to wonder this: why did Letterman not get fired after that intern? After the debauchery with the PAs and the interns, and this is a guy in his fucking 60s preying on 19-year-olds to the tune of whatever. And not that it's illegal, quote unquote, but it's embarrassing. It is bordering on statutory rape, and anybody else would have gotten fired. Letterman's company, Worldwide Pants, owns his show. So CBS couldn't fire him, as embarrassing as that is, for this wholesome. CBS paints itself as this wholesome mom and pop network, the network that your parents fall asleep to watching a shitty Kevin James sitcom, right? And CSI, CSI Rockville Center, whatever the fuck they're on now. And do you think they want their late night host now known for preying on 19-year-olds, right? So Worldwide Pants own Letterman's show like 112, like Howard owns his own shit.
Now, why do you think they put me on there?
So my point is, he did the 60 Minutes special, which is obviously CBS and Letterman. So 60 Minutes, I don't know. It's a big story. They hadn't done a story on him yet. Nobody, civilians would not equate K-Rock and terrestrial radio and FM to CBS. I don't even think we used it. I don't think anyone knew that CBS was the father company overseeing it all at the time. I certainly, I kind of knew. I'm in New York, and I don't even know if I knew it, if that was under the division. So maybe they just didn't equate it to that. Nobody gave a shit, but it is kind of a point here.
Asked me to speak about Sirius satellite radio. Why? Because they knew it was good for ratings. And in the same way they knew it was good for 60 Minutes, in the same way they knew that it was good for David Letterman, they knew if I went on the radio, it would be good for the radio ratings. They say I misled them into thinking I was staying at CBS.
Yeah, Mr. D, I knew the FCC war with the FCC was a scam. Yeah, right around Sirius, it was all, even before the announcement, he was, the whole, John Kerry versus Bush and Clear Channel bullshit and First Amendment martyr. It was all he knew. Yeah, Mr. D, he knew back in 2003 he was going to Syria. I think he knew a year before at least a year before the announcement. And he used that to paint himself like it's a witch hunt, right? And a First Amendment martyr. And he was you could take the promotion for Sirius before the announcement that he was at every day. He's complaining about censors. And I think he was laying it on thick without actually saying the company name. I think he knew at least a year before it.
I had been talking about going on satellite for the last 5 years. I'd had it with the FCC. I gave them 14 months' notice.
That's funny.
I had direct conversations with Joel Hollander before I
Nosferatu, which I believe you
signed my deal with satellite months in advance, and I said, Joel, under no circumstances, under no amount of money do I want to broadcast under the FCC regulations anymore. I don't think you guys have stood up. I don't think you guys have defended us. I don't want to be involved.
When you put it like that, G Canada, it is crazy. Like Artie's responsible for so many subscriptions and his bonus. Howard's essentially making 90 times more than Artie was. 90 times more.
With terrestrial radio anymore. Les Moonves to the newspapers made the same statement. I don't think there was anything we could have done to keep Howard Stern on terrestrial.
There's great stuff, PCPBO 23, with the divorce and Allison. When you go through, I look at it all the time when I read shit. The Allison smear campaign goes from about 2000 till he gets to Sirius, and then Allison's lawyers shut him down. And there's some really good reveals about he gave her half his money, and he was complaining. Gary actually said, he goes, Howard, I saw you mumbling during the break. I'm giving her half my money. I'm giving her half my money. So that is legitimate. And Allison, she made out way better than people realize.
Terrestrial radio. He said it. It's his quote. But somehow I misled them into. I misled them into thinking I was staying at CBS. How can you have it both ways? Either I misled you or I didn't. And then they say I hurt them financially. Well, guess what?
Chief Phony Feathers is right. So Howard's big lie that he was worried about his electrician or his plumber would hear his salary and charge him more. Like, it's the same thing we talked about with the governor stuff. Like, they know you're rich. They know you're rich. They know you're at least a millionaire. Whether it's 80 million or 5 million, they're gonna. He thinks that because the plumber would charge him $40 more for a visit, that's his big concern. It's such horseshit. He just cannot stop lying.
14 months that I was on the air, they had record revenue. Sold out. 21 minutes of commercials an hour on my show. How did I hurt them? How did I damage them? I sat in a meeting with Les just a couple of days ago. He says, I have damages. I said, Les, how do you have damages? He goes, I'm not making any money at the radio division. I go, Les, I'm allowed to leave. It's not my fault. He goes,
he didn't know
that's not what I meant.
was.
This lawsuit is a personal vendetta against me to distract me and to distract you.
Yeah, Chief, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? He claims he invented that. And I think Jeff Foxworthy hosted that. So that's the whole thing we're going to do. I think it was Bon Jovial's idea. And it certainly would have, Scott Einzinger, who used to be, employee there on the E! Show and stuff. He did that show, Are You Hot? Which is a ripoff of Howard stuff. And Jackie was a consultant on it. And he had that Einzinger and he turned on him, and he has a lot of good feuds going with Scott Einzinger. So we were going to go into the Einzinger feud, which is a good thing and there's a lot of audio on that.
Ad space completely sold out. I made them millions of dollars. I was a good trooper. I showed them the way to make millions of dollars in morning radio. If I was hurting them, why did they keep me on the air?
Canada's calling me gay for watching an award show.
For 14 months. You got to ask yourself that. These guys are going to call me all kinds of names in a lawsuit. I'm the most honest broadcaster there is. You might not like my act. I'll tell you that. Some people like it, some people hate it. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm the most honest person in the world. These guys once overpaid me money, sent me too much money.
There's no bigger serial liar on the face of the earth than Howard. Judy Wright hates him. She's one of your haters, Howard. Howard says, nothing but a whiny bitch. I agree. Depp would have been a phenomenal in 7. Oh, she's a Deppening faithful. Thank you, Judy. And added the note that Johnny, without makeup, is sexy. His eye is incredible. His voice, I could listen to him 24/7. Thank you, Judy. I'd love to take you, Judy style in the sack.
I sent it back to him. I wouldn't cheat anyone out of a dime. This is a personal vendetta.
According to Jose Villataro, the bad years will surpass the good years if he signs into the 5. Yeah, it's around that, right? If he signs into the deal, that's when it passes it. The bad years will surpass the good years.
It's to distract you from the truth. They lost me to satellite. Bless looks bad. He's running the radio division into the ground. CBS Radio is doing terribly. Not my words, your words in the Daily News, the Post, and everywhere else. That's the story here. It's wag the dog. Go attack Howard, and let's forget about the horrible job Les and Joel are doing. They're good at taking talent and giving them the shaft. That's
Sarah's right. There's 3 years of deep dive stuff. There's no interest in the current crap he does. Why be miserable talking about an old crotchety shut-in? I agree 100%.
Exactly. Good call. I'm loving that comment, John. You've just done a great 20 minutes. I'm loving that comment about the plumber. Think about it. Let's set the scene. The plumber arrives to a mansion with 10 bathrooms. Does the plumber think that this guy is tight on cash at the moment?
The plumber says, oh God, he's got to be making 40 million, not 80, not 100 million. Oh, I'll charge him. I'll give him the regular price.
How does he afford this place when he works at 7-Eleven?
He was parking cars at the Southampton beach. He what he just said. Let's go back this up a little bit. This is crazy. He just about exploiting talent. Who does it more than he does? Listen to this.
The horrible job Les and Joel are doing. They're good at taking talent and giving them the shaft. That's Les Moonves.
Who's
Wow.
giving talent the shaft?
Look at his tone and his face. His face, like, this is the angriest we've maybe ever seen him since Wendy Williams. I mean, he's so upset. And look, he's still got that beautiful hair hanging down on the right side. Ralph did his hair before this. Remember that, everyone.
Right, no,
Remember who
I
we're
know.
dealing with.
And rehearsed it with Ralph, by the way, on the underwear parties on Monday night. Who gives talent the shaft more than Howard does? Whether it's his own people
great.
or Billy West, or who gives who has he ever developed? You're not allowed to succeed on his watch. Who are you? I cannot believe it's so. You talk about vigorous flying too close to the sun.
Oh, yeah.
And believe me, a lot more people are going to be coming out of the woodwork about this. You wait and see. He turns to me and he goes, I can't believe I had to hear about Howard Stern leaving CBS on my birthday.
There you go again. Repeat.
I said, what are you, 11 years old? Sorry. Your birthday?
Do you have the sitcom laugh? The audience laugh as it's dropped?
Oh, I think I...
Remember you did the brilliant job you did on you and Sarah did, Sarah did it on the Deppening where she had the audience laughing at my monologue.
Oh, no,
okay, that's good,
that's good.
that's good. So you ready? After everybody does a joke, I'll pause it. Ready?
Sorry. Your birthday? Yeah, when you're 10, that destroys you.
Why don't we... Got it.
Actually, it's not what I want. I need a moment. I need a moment to set it up.
Do it again.
I said, what are you, 11 years old? Sorry. Your birthday? Yeah, when you're 10, that destroys you.
Why don't we see if we got any questions?
Oh, his lawyer.
I cranked that up. See, he's trying to. He's just. I think we got to get on with this.
His lawyer's giving him direction here.
Your birthday? Yeah, when you're 10, that destroys you.
Why don't we see if we got any questions?
There we go. I put up subtitles for these questions as well because you can't really hear them. I love it. I love this press conference. Isn't this the greatest, John? It's just fucking awesome.
That's the most you're ever gonna get from dialogue from Howard's lawyer. You'll never hear. You're never gonna hear these guys speak.
Have I rattled on?
Almost like Jack Smith.
Too long?
I just said it.
Oh, all right.
There they are. Yeah, just pause that. There they are. There they are. So that's buckled hard left, isn't it?
Far left, yeah, far left.
So these two guys. The guy on the right looks kind of young, apart from the hair loss.
Like
but the other guy,
it's like Ben Stern. He looks like Ben Stern in 1967.
Look at this guy to the left of Howard. That guy's like Guy Smiley. Probably got a big grin on his face all the time. Hi, how you going? Yeah, great. Yeah, he's great, making a lot of money.
Classic old school New York lawyer. He's a It's hard to make their face like this is not HD, so it's very difficult to make out specifics in the.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. 500 million.
I think it's crazy. I think this whole thing is an absolute intimidation. Is that what it is?
So he's playing stupid on that huge number they throw out.
Yeah.
Look at that. He's such a fucking such a weasel. He's such a goddamn lascivious weasel.
Your birthday? Yeah, when you're 10, that destroys you.
Why don't we see if we got any questions?
Okay. Have I rattled on too long?
I just said it.
Oh, all right.
So what do you think about the amount
of
the lawsuit?
So Bond did a nice closed captions there. He said, what do you think is the amount of the lawsuit? And then 500 million, the question he slips in. And Howard pretends he doesn't know this magical number, which everyone has seen a million times for months and months and months.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Oh.
He's such
I think it's crazy. I think this whole thing is an absolute intimidation practice. You're trying to distract me from what I'm doing. Their claims are unfounded. I just went through every single claim they made in that paper. How can you have it both ways? I think it's ridiculous.
How many times you said?
Why not just ignore it? I mean, they'll file. The lawyers will do whatever they'll do.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what sickened me about this.
I'm sorry,
And
Bon.
you
I went out. Let's see what you said. You're doing a great. Thank you for those close cats. Great job by you. Okay, so
It's all good.
Let's see if I can recognize the broad's voice.
Through every single claim they made in that paper. How can you have it both ways? I think it's ridiculous.
Why not just ignore it? I mean, they'll file, the lawyers will do whatever they'll do.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what sickened me about this. The reason they do this, they file, and then they get a bunch of lawyers to do a bunch of magic. They put words in there. Fraud, horrible person, rip-off artist, disgusting,
You're all those
misused
things.
us, abused us. I can't sit there and let somebody attack me like that. Even if there's just perception that I've done something wrong, it drives me crazy. I have built a career on being honest with my audience and also being an honest businessman.
Hearsay.
I would never do any.
What, Bon?
Hearsay.
I know.
He's just
Twigger is
roll-
flying too close to this. The more
Doesn't
you
need
say you're
any-
honest, it's like anyone else. It's like you think. The more you say how much you love your wife, you're hiding something. The more how you brag about how honest you are, you're a serial liar. There's a direct correlation to that. The more you have to, if you're honest, you don't have to tell anybody about it, right? Who says that I'm the most honest person? That's someone who has something to hide. That is someone who's lying
Like,
all the time.
Who said that we know? Stuttering John says it all the time. I'm the most honest person.
Yep.
Dodgy.
Anything dishonest.
Would you ever consider settling with these guys?
Settling what? There's nothing to settle. I'll leave that up to the lawyers. You know what I mean? I'm here to tell you the truth. Just to get back to your question, the reason I
You know why he'll leave it up to the lawyers? Because he will not say a figure. He cannot. Anytime there's anything approaching bringing up an actual solid figure with a number attached to it, he can't do it. He's
The
terrified
lawyers.
of The lawyers.
The lawyers are going to come to him and say, "Do you want to settle?"
I really wanted you to know my side of it. I took it very hard and very personally. I'll tell you something. When I was in this meeting with Les and Joel, I got emotional. And I think they saw that as a sign of weakness. It's hard to read Les. There's so much Botox, I don't know how to read him. But I think when I was...
There we go.
I started...
So you
Bit of comedy.
Repeater jokes. Yep.
To actually get tears in my...
Look at him laughing at his own joke. Look at him. Look at him revving up. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Keep going. Keep going. You got him, Howard. You got him.
It's hard to read Les. There's so much Botox, I don't know how to read him. But
Who has more plastic surgery, Howard or Moonves? I don't think it's
Oh,
close.
yeah.
I don't think it's close. He literally, his vacation, his entire schedule revolves around getting plastic surgery in the Hamptons. His entire schedule. I mean, I'm convinced of it. I don't think it's close. I think he's 10-1 on Moonves and plastic surgery and all whatever cosmetic thing you want to say.
I think when I started to actually get tears in my eyes.
You do seem emotional today.
Yeah.
What is the nature of it? Are you offended? Are you hurt? What are you feeling?
I'm offended. I really do think this is a personal vendetta. Les has had it in for me for a long time. And you know what? I don't deserve it. I really don't. He knows it. I didn't do anything to talk about David Lee Roth or Adam Carolla or anything. I left those guys to their race.
Am I hearing this? Did I not just spend 2 hours? Okay, next time we do this, when we pick this up again, all I'm going to do is cobble together him eviscerating David Lee Roth. We're doing that. I didn't even realize he said that. The next time we do this, I'm going to get a whole compilation, Von.
I can't wait for this.
It's
I'm gonna,
in every day. Everyone knows. I don't have to tell these people. Everyone knows he did it. Now he's lying that he doesn't defame David Lee Roth. That's all he did. You're not allowed to even be worse than him.
I'm isolating this clip out now for you for next show. I'm loving it. I can't wait because you're going to go crazy.
I know what they're doing
the
here.
Ferret,
It's a smart
the ferret.
tactical move on their part. They're really floundering.
Why do you care?
You went and you met with him.
Yep.
What was that meeting like?
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. It was more than he said. Because, you can't have a lawsuit and leave me on the air for 14 months and then say, I didn't know what Howard was doing. Either you're in control. I can't hijack a radio. You can't have 7 delay buttons and never hit them, and never tell me I'm doing anything wrong, and then suddenly say I did something wrong.
Howard, have there been talks to avert this lawsuit?
Yeah, I went over. I said, Les, I called him up. What's going on? This is coming out of left field. Why are you doing this for the last couple of months? They've been, working on me. Oh, it's nothing personal. The big chaps. Nothing personal. It's just business. I go, well, it feels kind of personal.
Did he just say the big caps? Did he just make fun of someone's veneers with those piano teeth, as
If
Bradley
you-
Cooper said?
If you
Can you believe this?
I know if you list it all the way we are, it's astonishing. It's just one thing after another.
Every single thing, it's Wigger's flying too close, or there's some hypocrisy. Every single thing he says, it's either a lie or some crazy hypocrisy.
Feels like you're attacking me.
Right, the radio chick was so radio chick is she did like almost like a relationship show. It's pretty good. I listened to it. It was on K-Rock in the afternoon. So Nick DiPaolo and the radio chick had the afternoons, and their shows were good. And he never brings them up because their shows are solid. So he never bashed them because you couldn't really, there's nothing really to make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she'd been at it for that's a great reference by you, Tone Cott.
Saying that I did something that I didn't do.
When was this last meeting when you met with him, and where was it?
She had the Schwarzer comedian Chuck Nice was on the show. That guy, I don't know if anyone knows him. I don't know if he's a New York name, but he was on that. He was her kind of partner or sidekick.
It was over at CBS, right? And it was how many weeks ago? I don't know. 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Yeah, something like that.
Why not wait till the suit is filed?
You know why? Because they'll file the suit, you read it, and you're going to say, well, gee, I got questions. I'd rather come out.
So according to Villataro, when Howard retires, Sirius will own his tapes for 10 years. Then I guess, I mean, hopefully he's dead by then. Hopefully he's dead by next week.
Proactively and say, you know what? I'm sick of the intimidation factor here. They're trying to, this is what they do to talent. You wait and see what they do to this David Lee Roth. Remember?
What you do to him, what you did to him, what you did to him. You did way worse things to him than their management ever did. David Lee Roth couldn't wait to get fired. He had a payout. I think they had to give him $12 million to fire him. And that was Howard's dream, right? Yeah, I think it was $12 million. It was like when Opie and Anthony got fired in 2002, they paid them out. Or Conan O'Brien, actually, from NBC. I couldn't believe people felt sorry for him. He had $32 million to get fired. And then TBS hired. That's a deal with the devil, that guy. Wiggy looks, Horatius 763. Howard looks more like bizarre than he used to here. Totally. He's a mix of Michael Jackson and a zombie corpse or something. It's a Tim Burton. he's every Tim Burton character rolled into one. He's Wigabod Crane. He really is. This is Ralph's fucking work.
His next big thing, you'll see how they start to distance themselves. They're going to bury this guy. He's never going to work again.
Wigward Scissorhands.
They're going to run.
We're going to have to.
Howard, will there be a countersuit?
Well, they'll come. We don't come.
Howard, what would you say to Les right now?
He's up on the Botox.
There you go. He finally got a laugh.
Takes for to know one. He's up on the Botox. You'll regret that when we'll play it. He's up. Roger Dodger says Howard sucks and waits for you to critique him slightly. Then he puts your head in a vice. Yes. Howard was jealous of anything. O&A when they got paid after. Yeah, that was his dream. Chief Phony Feathers. I had said this at the time, and I say this thing with it. He wanted to get fired so bad from K-Rock, but he needed to promote the show. So, but his dream, he was conflicted because he wanted to get fired and he wanted them to pay him out, but he would continue to promote. He wasn't legally allowed to go on the air at Sirius until January 1st, 2006. So for next time, I'm going to get all the David Lee Roth stuff of him bashing all things free FM, as it were, for next time. And then I have him the next day on his show. He talks about the press conference and repeats all the same jokes.
Oh, of course. Milk it.
He's saying that if he didn't like him making a reference to Sirius, they could have hit the dump button. That's such an in-serious argument. They can't hit the dump button every time. Right. So the whole show would be canceled. When he says, and then he dances around it. She's so right. They have to cancel the entire show. You can't hit the dump button for 4 hours straight because that's all he did was promote it for a year and a half. And then callers would call in, right? So then he'd have fake callers call in to promote the Sirius. Oh, I didn't tell them to call in. They called in on their own.
That's
right?
Typical dodgy.
Sunflower's right. He wants the court of public opinion to be on his side. That's exactly what he's doing.
Have you ever gone through this video before over the
Yes.
years? Okay,
I've watched
cool.
it a million times.
Isn't it great? No, I mean on the air.
No, never, not once in full. I played on Gunk. I remember some abbreviated cleaning out the computer segment. I think I took excerpts from it, but not indeed. We were supposed to go over it, and it never happened. It was one of those things we never got to. It was one of those shows we just, plans. How do I put this? What was a notebook of ideas that never came to fruition because of the
this
fucking
is
daily
it's
coverage,
just,
which I despise.
this is just a gold mine, isn't it?
It is.
It's amazing. He just.
But he also
must have-
thinks you can't go back and listen to what he said about David Lee Roth. Like, and I'm not even just David Lee Roth. It's the whole. He would bash the entire lineup all the time, and would do it aggressively, passive aggressively, and have other people. And Ralph would call in. It's a disaster, and everyone's. It was all he did. Trust me. Steve Langford went and harassed David Lee Roth when he would leave the studios, and he would interview him how shitty his show was and how bad they were to him. Believe me. And I'm sure, I mean, I think the conclusion, they settled this out of court, and I think Sirius paid off. Howard didn't spend a dime. He personally got sued. Sirius paid for him. Buchwald also got sued. Sirius paid for him, and they also made a deal where he got to use his tapes.
Isn't that crazy?
Nothing. He didn't suffer
him
at all. He didn't suffer at all. He's also worried too because he's paying Allison half his money. If he successfully sued, they're taking a huge chunk out of his payday. That's you got to.
I want you to go to jail for this.
Yeah, they're taking a big chunk. Yeah, for sure.
Because he knows like what he's not bringing up there, and it's such a big part of his fabric at the time, and it's in his head is that Allison's getting half his money, so he's tabulating like what it's all going away. Right? That's what you do. That's what any normal person would do. But he won't bring it up because that's really bothering him that Allison's getting half his money. But he can't bring her up. Eventually, her lawyers tell him, they give him a cease and desist. And if you notice, right around this time, he doesn't bring her up anymore. He doesn't. The Allison smear campaign stops. It magically stops right around here.
Crazy. Which is... He could have killed so many hours bitching about her. He'd still be bitching about her now if he could.
Oh, totally. Totally. What kind of conversations do you think he's had with Beth off the air about Allison?
Oh, Jesus.
One of the best is when there's a great female caller who called into Andy Cohen's show when Beth was on, and she asked him about Allison and the kids, and she was terrified. She's like, "We're great. They're great. Great. They great. We love great." And she got so ambushed. Andy Cohen put her through. He wanted to hear it himself. There's Ida Greenbacks. Welcome, Ida. We love us some Ida Greenbacks.
The classic Ida.
It is the Sunflower Dragon. This is what you have to. God, my eyes suck. You have a client that insists on doing what they want. Hey, that's okay. The press conference is really just a glorified temper tantrum. Well said, Sunflower.
Yes.
Mike McN. I agree. We're going to wrap up soon. I want to thank everybody. This has been a good show. Johnny Meyer, you were requested by somebody before to sit in with Chauncey. It's a weird bedfellows there, but I'm not against it. I don't know. This has been a marathon, says Sky Spectre. What are we at here, Bond? 3 hours and 31 minutes? That's a big...
That's right.
It's double what any other Stern attempt does. We like the long shows. We like, not that I'm hell-bent on a time, but it's just like, it's a good time for people to listen when they're driving or working or something. I don't like the short podcasts. I just don't. This press conference, Johnny Meyer says he basically admits to talking about Sirius for 14 months, but then he says, that's funny. No, don't say it. They let him hang himself with his own rope. Yep. Very true, Johnny. I also think he's trying to potential jury pool. He sway the jury pool nothing with him gets to court. You know, his biggest nightmare is that this is all laid bare.
That's right.
He
Yeah.
throws
No
money.
info.
Monique had said because her husband's a lawyer, that she knew of a ton of lawsuits that he had made go away. He threw money at it, and interns and such. Remember we had told Chauncey about the intern law? They had the Stern Show was targeted as the. Should we say that for Chauncey for next time and read him the intern lawsuit?
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure. I love that. That's going to be great.
We tried to get her on Gunk when she was nice. She said no. She's like, that's okay. I think she had a gag away. I think she's not allowed to talk about it. I think she would have. The girl who led the lawsuit, I can't remember her name, was an Irish broad, and she wasn't. You know, it was like the we'll save for Chauncey, like misusing the time when all they did was, you know, fetch these carcasses, egg sandwiches, and breakfast specials, and do all this shit that didn't relate to radio. And they said, how does this translate to what we want to do? And it didn't. And the Stern Show was the main culprit for it. Could you imagine have to fetch Benji zinc pills?
Oh no.
Could you imagine doing that? I got this awful, unfunny, creepy writer 50 milligrams of zinc pills today. That's what I did, Mom. And you have to be rich to be an intern in New York, by the way. You can't survive on. Your parents have to be, you know, fronting you. They have to be bankrolling you to do that. You can't have some middle class person intern for free. By the way, Stern Show is the reason interns get paid now. So the interns actually get paid now because of the Stern Show. Abused it.
It's
so
unbelievable.
bad.
Wow. Yeah, talk about using people, the concept of intern.
I want to thank everybody for this show. I want to thank everyone who donated. Go join our Patreon. We did an Armfeld, 21 Arm Street. God knows what I think Bon and I are going to do. And Kathy Scott, a mayor of Kingstown, watch along.
Yeah, and The Office, the UK Office. Oh,
Sunflower Dragon's going to
yes.
join us for the Richard Christie streaking and Erica Durant sexual harassment combo. I'm really looking forward to that. And David's going to be in on that too. That'll be a really good show. I'm really looking forward to that.
You are the dream I never knew I had.
Like and subscribe, please. Right now, if you don't, please like and Sarah will. Sky Spectre says, G Canada, been up your way a few times. I love the way. Sky Spectre is one of my favorite names, as a matter of fact. Tone Cott says, Stern also spent his final year at K-Rock ranting about the FCC. Right. The Janet Jackson stuff. Right. He's placed himself as the First Amendment FCC martyr. And that's all knowing it's a cash grab, knowing where this is all going to meet his bonus. And you would all follow him. That's how he plays chess. So Bon, you have anything else to promote? Or I wanted to, Jesus, you had something I wanted to, do you have something you want to promote?
Nah, I'm just thanking everyone for listening. We love you guys, don't we, John? We talk about you people off the air with love.
We're shocked, John. You use the N-word a lot.
Holy shit.
I love the way Sonny Hostin throws it in. You're the shock jack. You know, you're the guy who uses the N-word a lot. And
you got slapped the yarmulke.
I did.
It's one of the best. We thank you for listening.
What are you playing here?
We just love all of you. Don't you, John? Are you going to sing something off the top of your head with thanking everyone for listening?
I'll refer to Sammy Green, actually.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.